Chapter 59-67. In the distance, another great emperor-level figure arrived. A pink skeleton arrived with an army of skeletons. She chuckled softly and said, "Supreme Masters, do you want to join forces too? Moreover, it's to deal with a young man. How embarrassing. If you don't have the strength, get lost. Don't stay here. You don't deserve to be with us." Who was it? Hearing this mockery, the spirit sovereign was immediately angry. In his eyes, there was an extremely terrifying desolate law that swept across the 8 desolates. When he saw the white bones, his pupils shrank. "Bone Emperor, you're here too." This skeleton was not simple. It was also a great emperor, and its strength was not weaker than his. In fact, it seemed that it was even stronger than him. The Bone Emperor walked out. He looked at Lin Xian and said with a smile, "Little guy, you're not simple. The last time I saw you in hell, you were only a little quasi-emperor. Now, you've grown into the Tin Crown King. You're really a young hero." Humph! Another cold snort came from the sky. Then, endless yellow spring water filled the air. From the yellow spring water, a figure emerged. The yellow spring great emperor. Everyone's scalp went numb. This was the power of death. The yellow spring great emperor came. He stared at Lin Xian and snorted coldly, but he didn't make a move. Lin Xian was surprised. There were so many old friends. He also knew the yellow spring great emperor, but he didn't know if Ming Di had come. Back then, 2 of the 3 great emperors in hell had come. Ming Di was the last one. He looked around but didn't see Ming Di. However, there were a few other people who had arrived. These people were arrogant and unruly. Their auras were also terrifying. Lin Xian had never seen them before. However, judging from the information on them, they were definitely great emperors or supremes. It seemed that these people were all ancient existences who had now awakened. Furthermore, these people seemed to be in their own camps and could be considered as rogue cultivators. On the other side, only Baiyu Great Emperor came. The Supremes didn't join forces with each other. Only the Spirit Sovereign and the imperishable Great Emperor were linked. Lin Xian was shocked. He wondered if all the Supreme Beings had joined the Supreme Being Palace. Or could it be that there were different factions in the Supreme Hall? The water is very deep. It was indeed this place. I felt that I had a great opportunity here. An old laugh could be heard. The crowd turned their heads around and saw an old man walking over. This old man was wearing cotton clothes and was holding a canvas in his hand. He was holding a big yellow dog in his left hand, baring his teeth. Beside the old man was a beautiful woman. Her physique was extremely mysterious. Lotuses of the great Tao covered her feet as she walked. Lotuses bloomed with every step she took. This person's understanding of the great Tao was extremely terrifying. This young man was really something. The sudden appearance of these 2 people attracted the attention of others. Everyone turned their heads to look. Lin Xian was also surprised. "It's you." The woman surrounded by the great Tao was none other than Zhong Linxiu. At this moment, Zhong Linxiu's strength was much stronger than before, especially her born Taoism aptitude. It had improved by leaps and bounds. Lin Xian felt that even if it hadn't reached greater mastery, it was almost there. It seemed that there was indeed a fortuitous encounter. "Do you need help?" Zhong Linxiu asked. "Sure." Lin Xian smiled. Zhong Linxiu walked over. The others were shocked, especially Baiyu Great Emperor and the imperishable Great Emperor. Their expressions immediately turned ugly. Another super genius had arrived, and it was Lin Xian's side. The situation didn't look good. So what if there were more helpers? Baiyu Great Emperor and the other 2 walked out. This time, they also planned to join forces. After all, the number of people on the other side had increased. That's great. The imperishable Great Emperor was overjoyed. As long as Baiyu Great Emperor joined their side, they could definitely sweep everything away if they joined forces. The situation was once again in crisis. Chen Yixin shook his head. "You guys are really shameless." The big yellow dog beside him also barked twice with a disdainful expression. Baiyu Great Emperor had completely thrown caution to the wind. In order to kill this kid. So what if they joined forces? The surrounding people all retreated. They knew that a great battle was about to erupt. "Kid, your current situation isn't good, right? Do you want me to help you?" Suddenly, a voice sounded in Lin Xian's ears. Lin Xian frowned. He asked, "Who are you?" The voice said, "No matter who I am, I have a way to help you. At least I can help you block a supreme. This way, the pressure on you will be much less. Otherwise, you will probably be in danger today. Would you be so kind?" Lin Xian didn't believe it. The voice said, "Of course, I won't help you for no reason. I know that your physique is the 9 yang divine body. How about this? Let's make a deal. You tell me the secret of the 9 yang divine body and I will help you. How about it? This is a good deal. You already have a divine body. You won't lose anything by giving this physique to me. And without my help, you might very well die here today. So I think you should know what to choose." The voice was very confident. However, Lin Xian frowned. Was this looting a burning house? Did she really think that he couldn't resolve this situation? He said coldly, "I don't even know if you are a human or a ghost. Come out and let me take a look." "No problem." The voice disappeared. At the same time, a figure walked over from afar. This person was wearing white clothes and a white mask. His entire person was extremely strange. There was a mysterious and abnormal aura on his body. His appearance caused the surrounding people to be shocked. Had another super strong cultivator arrived? "Kid, what do you think?" The mysterious person said coldly. Lin Xian saw the other party and his eyes flickered. "So it's you. You want to take my divine body. Hurry up and get lost, or I will kill you." The cold voice sounded, causing the surrounding people to be stunned. What did they see? Lin Wudi was actually scolding a super expert. What was going on? The mysterious expert was also enraged. Her body was trembling with anger. "Good, you don't know how to appreciate kindness. I have no regrets. I have never been scolded. Today, you will pay the price." No regrets. Many people were stunned, but the eyes of the immortal heavenly emperor and the spirit sovereign lit up. "May I ask if you are the immortal heavenly emperor of the Valley of No Return?" "Yes, it is me," the mysterious figure said proudly with his hands behind his back. He was wearing a mask on his face, so no expression could be seen, but his voice was full of arrogance. As expected of a fellow Taoist. "Fellow Taoist, don't cooperate with this kid. Join forces with us. What do you want? When the time comes, we can suppress him and get everything. He not only has the 9 yang divine body, but also other treasures. When the time comes, we will divide them equally." "Okay." The immortal heavenly emperor nodded. He stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, "Stupid kid, you will regret your decision later. Everyone, let's attack together." The immortal heavenly emperor laughed loudly. He felt that this time, he could definitely suppress the other party. The black heavenly steel in his hand attacked, and the indestructible laws erupted. The spirit sovereign also attacked. The desolate laws spread out as if they could take away all life. The immortal heavenly emperor also attacked. He made a strange sound that spread to the surroundings. The people who were enveloped by this sound only felt their souls shake. Some of them even had lifeless eyes. They couldn't help but walk forward. "Not good. Retreat quickly. Don't be enveloped by his soul attack," a great emperor roared. The others came back to their senses and were incomparably terrified. They quickly retreated. At the same time, they were shocked. The white-feathered great emperor hadn't even attacked yet, but these 3 people were already so terrifying. If they joined forces, they would sweep through everything. Together with the white-feathered great emperor, that would be a super lineup. Lin Wudi definitely wouldn't be able to resist. Could it be that the other party was going to die here? Bailing and the others were in despair. The ancient crocodile's expression was also ugly, but he took a deep breath and stood out. Zhong Lingxiu also walked out and said, "I will help you stop a supreme." She waved her hand and attacked the spirit sovereign. Lin Xian nodded. "Okay, be careful." He took out the immortal slaying sword and pointed it at the sky. The sharp sword light swept in all directions. The sword light swept out in all directions, directly enveloping the immortal heavenly emperor and the white-feathered great emperor. Is this guy going to fight 2 great emperors alone? Too arrogant. Let's deal with one too. Chun Yixin stared at Supreme Wu Hui. The big yellow dog under his feet roared to fight against the other party's soul attack. The ancient crocodile also came to Chen Yixian's side. He also cooperated with the big yellow dog to fight against Supreme Wu Hui. The battle broke out instantly. What shocked everyone was that the four great emperors working together couldn't kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian fought against two great emperors alone. Although he was at a disadvantage, he didn't show any signs of losing. As for the others, they actually managed to block the attacks of the Supremes as well. They were simply too powerful. Even such a lineup couldn't kill Lin Wuti? The immortal Great Emperor's face was twisted with anger. The White Feather Great Emperor roared as well. He said, "Don't hold back." Immortal chi exploded from his body continuously. The immortal Great Emperor's divine flame was also flickering. The two of them were about to unleash a peerless attack. Lin Xian naturally felt the danger. He snorted coldly. "You two don't know what's good for you. Then I'll let you see my power." He took out the great dragon sword soul. Together with the immortal slaying sword, he attacked the immortal Great Emperor. At the same time, the reincarnation sword's phantom was summoned by the Rinnegan and attacked the White Feather Great Emperor. When the two forces appeared, countless people were shocked. Even the other great emperors were shocked. This was the power of the Great Dragon Sword and the Reincarnation Sword. This kid actually controlled two of the 5 swords of the world. It was unbelievable. Chapter 59-68. Two streaks of sword chi surged and slashed at the two great emperors. Great Emperor Baiyu roared. He had been injured by the reincarnation sword's phantom before. After seeing it, he roared angrily, "I will never be injured again." The wings on his back kept expanding as if they had turned into 2 shields to block frantically. An earth-shattering sound was heard, turning into a black hole. On the other side, Great Emperor Bumie retreated. The sharp aura of the Great Dragon Sword's soul caused cracks to appear on his body. "Damn it, I'm immortal," he roared crazily. "Immortal seal." He struck out with a large black seal that contained an extremely powerful force to block the attack. After the attack, Lin Xian stood there, but the two great emperors kept retreating. This shocked everyone. Lin Wuti was already so strong? He actually repelled the joint attack of two great emperors. Supreme Wu Hui and Supreme Huangling also frowned when they saw this scene. No, they had to work together to kill Lin Wuti first because he was too strong. Before they could even make a move, the reincarnation mountain beneath them began to change. This was because the reincarnation sword's phantom didn't disappear after slashing Great Emperor Baiyu back. Instead, it was absorbed by the reincarnation mountain below. The reincarnation mountain let out another rumble and continued to fly upward. This scene caused a strange phenomenon to take place. Everyone stopped and looked down at the reincarnation mountain. Even Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that the 6 Paths Gate was about to open. He didn't accept the challenge. After transmitting his voice to Zhong Lingxiu, Chen Yixian, and the ancient crocodile, Lin Xian turned into a stream of light and disappeared. At the same time, a black vortex appeared above the old man in linen clothes, Bailing, and the others. It swallowed them and took them away. Trying to escape? Where are you going? Great Emperor Baiyu roared furiously and chased after him. The others also began to move. Let's see what's so mysterious about this mountain. They quickly entered the mountain. However, this mountain seemed to be different from the other mountains. Normally, there were no treasures at the foot of a mountain, but there were treasures at the top. However, there was something strange about this mountain. There was nothing at the top of the mountain, but there seemed to be a mysterious aura at the foot of the mountain. However, the foot of the mountain was still underground. Thus, the crowd could only descend rapidly. Damn it, did I lose him? Great Emperor Baiyu stopped, and her face turned ugly. This mountain was abnormally terrifying. After he landed, he discovered that Lin Xian had already disappeared. Behind them, Emperor Bumie, Supreme Huangling, and Supreme Wu Hui arrived as well. The 4 of them worked together for the time being. Among them, Paragon Regretless took out a cauldron and said, "Let me take a look." He slapped the cauldron with his palm, and the cauldron let out a sound that echoed in the surroundings. Then, he snorted coldly, "I found him." With that, he pointed in a direction. Great Emperor Baiyu smiled. Let's attack together. The four great emperors joined forces and attacked in that direction. This direction was indeed where Lin Xian was. At this moment, for extremely bright lights shone, illuminating the entire reincarnation mountain. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. This was the combined attack of the great emperors. It was too powerful. They saw the four great emperors joining forces and attacking in the same direction. And in that direction, several figures appeared. One of them was Lin Xian. Retreat quickly. Lin Xian waved his hand and asked Zhong Lingxiu and the others to retreat, while he went forward to meet them. The heaven-devouring jar appeared in his hand, and he slapped it fiercely. A black vortex appeared. In the next moment, it collided with the four great emperors' attacks, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. The black vortex was instantly penetrated and then torn apart. Not good. Zhong Lingxiu and the others exclaimed when they saw this scene. Let alone 10 Crown King, even a true great emperor wouldn't be able to resist such an attack. Even if Lin Xian had more trump cards, it would be difficult for him to resist it. When the black vortex disappeared, they quickly searched. However, they discovered that Lin Xian was gone. Was he dead? When the other supremes and great emperors saw this scene, they discussed animatedly. Someone said, "He must be dead." After all, no one could resist such an attack. That was 4 martial monarchs teaming up against one another. Yes, the others also sighed. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he was too arrogant and careless. If he had chosen to dodge earlier, perhaps he could have survived. He was finally dead? Emperor Bumies smiled. The 4 of them walked forward to find Lin Xian's body. But soon, they were stunned. There was no one. There was nothing around, only broken cracks. Lin Xian's body was nowhere to be found. At the same time, Zhong Lingxiu and the others also received a voice transmission. Continue on your way. The voice transmission was from Lin Xian. Zhong Lingxiu and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian was not dead. Emperor Baiyu and the others also reacted instantly. Damn it, did they let him escape? Hurry up and find him. The 4 of them reached out their souls and searched everywhere, but they couldn't find him. Where was Lin Xian? Damn it, this time, they couldn't let him escape. They quickly chased after him. The other great emperors were also surprised. Bone Emperor said, "I knew this kid wouldn't die so easily." Emperor Huang Quan's eyes flickered. After thinking for a while, he didn't make a move. He said, "Let's look for the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation first. I have a feeling that this has something to do with the sword of reincarnation." The surrounding great emperors and the mysterious supremes all began to move. These people all had one goal, which was to find power and increase their strength. On the other side, Lin Xian also walked out from the void. His face was gloomy. The attack just now was indeed dangerous. He couldn't resist the joint attack of the 4 great emperors. The power of the heaven-devouring jar was shattered in an instant. However, at the critical moment, he entered the sword world. This was an ancient land, so he could completely dodge the attack of the 4. I will remember the 4 of you. I will make all of you fall. Lin Xian snorted and then continued to search. He also felt the powerful power of the 6 paths of reincarnation here. Therefore, he was prepared to find this power first. Lin Xian took out the heaven-devouring crown. At this moment, the old man in linen clothes and the others were in the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Xian said, "Continue to use your soul to sense." The old man in linen clothes nodded. His Shura soul walked out and sensed. Then he said, "There." He pointed in a direction below. Lin Xian's body swayed and flew down. Not long after, he felt a mysterious power shrouding him. It was as if he had entered another world. This was the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian was surprised. He used his Rinnegan to investigate carefully. Then, he took a deep breath. This was a sect. Previously, they had discussed this reincarnation mountain. This was a mysterious mountain, but there were no buildings. But now, the scene in front of Lin Xian was different. There were broken buildings, cracked pavilions, and split open halls. This was clearly the remnants of an ancient sect that had experienced a great war. Could it be that this was it? The ancient 6 paths of reincarnation? Chapter 59-69. Looking at the scene in front of him, Lin Xian was extremely happy. It seemed that he had arrived earlier than the others. This was great. This way, he would have enough time to search for treasures. Lin Xian activated his Rinnegan to the extreme and continued to walk forward. Behind him, Bailing, the old man in linen, and the others were also surprised. This was the ancient Six Daos Gate. It was truly inconceivable. They carefully followed the path forward. Suddenly, Bailing exclaimed. She looked down and saw some broken bones on the ground. Although these bones were broken, the aura of the great Tao on them was still extremely terrifying. These were the bones of quasi-emperors. Some of them had even surpassed quasi-emperors. Could it be that these were the bones of great emperors? Heavens, did the great emperors fall here back then? What happened to the ancient Six Paths Gate? Even Lin Xian was shocked. He lowered his head and carefully examined these bones. He wanted to see if there was anything that could still be used. After all, he now had the Hell Dao and could summon these corpses. However, he soon frowned. These white bones were all shattered to pieces. After all, the ancient Six Paths Gate was more than 1,000,000 years old. It was so old that even great emperors might not be able to survive. Let's go. The group continued to walk forward. The deeper they went, the more bones they found. Most of them were broken. Very few of them were intact. However, Lin Xian still managed to discover a few of them. Although their bodies had been shattered, they were still alive. Although these bones were broken, they seemed to be at the great emperor level. Perhaps they could be used to summon them. Lin Xian didn't miss this opportunity. He used the power of the Hell Dao to envelop these bones and leave a mark. It could be used as a trump card at a critical moment. Just like this, the group walked among the bones. Suddenly, they stopped. Bailing exclaimed, "What a beautiful stone!" There was a stone in front of them. The stone was about 3 meters tall. It stood there, exuding a mysterious aura. What a strong reincarnation power. The old man in linen was shocked. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The reincarnation power contained in this stone was really too strong. Furthermore, the surface of the stone was as smooth as a mirror. They continued to walk forward, but suddenly, an extremely terrifying sword light shot towards them from all directions. It was as if the sword of a god had slashed down. Bailing and the plain-clothed old man jumped in fright. They simply could not withstand such power. However, Lin Xian struck out with his palm and blocked the sword chi. At the same time, he retreated with the others. What a terrifying sword chi. There was actually a formation left behind here. Are there still any ancient Six Dao Gates left? However, thinking about it, it did make sense. After all, the Wraith Path from before was also here. He said to the two people behind him, "You too, be careful." Bailing and the old man nodded. Although he didn't act rashly anymore, Lin Xian walked forward alone. Sure enough, as he approached, he was attacked by the formation again. Those sword chi carried the power of the Six Dao of reincarnation. Once he was hit, he would probably vanish into thin air. However, this was not a problem for Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the Rinnegan and the Six Dao of reincarnation to fight against it. Not long after, he cracked these formations. Then, he turned around and said, "Okay, come here." Bailing and the old man in linen came over and followed Lin Xian to the strange-shaped stone. Lin Xian had seen many strange stones. He knew that after being cut, there was an unknown existence inside. However, this stone was obviously not used to be cut. There was a portrait on the strange-shaped stone. Bailing suddenly exclaimed. She found that there was a beautiful woman in the portrait, standing on auspicious clouds and flying between heaven and earth. Who is this? Why do I feel that she looks like me? Bailing was curious. The old man in linen was also shocked. The scene in front of him also changed. It turned into a mighty middle-aged man, sweeping in all directions. However, in the end, he was pierced by a sharp sword and died on the battlefield. It was very tragic. The old man in linen was also shocked. He took a deep breath and exclaimed, "Could it be that this is the legendary reincarnation stone of 3 lives? What is this?" Lin Xian was curious. Bailing was also puzzled. The old man in linen said, This stone is very strange. Legend has it that you can see the appearance of your previous life. What? This is what I looked like in my previous life. Bailing was surprised. Lin Xin's brows were tightly knitted together. Is there really reincarnation? Can people be reincarnated after death? He was not clear about all of this. After all, life was really too magical. Who could really see through life and death? What are other names and other previous lives? Lin Xin looked up, but in the next moment, he was stunned. Because the scene in front of him was blurry, and he could not see it clearly at all. Master, what's going on? Bailing was curious and asked the old man in linen. The old man in linen frowned tightly. It was strange. People should have a previous life, and they could even see it several times. However, Lin Gongzi could not see it clearly. It could only mean that the young master's heavenly secrets were too mysterious. For the time being, it was not the time to unravel it. Is it like this? Lin Xin frowned after hearing this. Originally, he wanted to see what his previous life was like. However, it seemed that there was no hope now. However, Lin Xin felt a huge power of the 6 paths on this stone of 3 lives. If he absorbed it, it would definitely make his Rinnegan stronger again. When he thought of this, Lin Xin's Rinnegan erupted with an incomparable light. It shrouded the front. The stone of 3 lives shook violently, and the scene on it disappeared. His radiance seemed to have dimmed. At this moment, a deep roar was heard. Who dares to come here and behave atrociously? There's actually someone here. When Bailing and the others heard this, their expressions changed drastically and they turned their heads abruptly. In the next moment, they saw a black eye floating over. The black eye was extremely terrifying and strange. After seeing it, they exclaimed, "The Wraith Path." Lin Xian also turned his head and stared at the other party. He said, "You're here. It's you. Boy, it's you." The Wraith Path also saw Lin Xian, and his eyes immediately turned red. His murderous aura surged, and boundless killing power swept in all directions. Last time, he was defeated and scared away by this guy. He did not expect that the other party would chase after him. How did you get in? You're only from the Wraith Path, and I have a Rinnegan. Why can't I come here? I can also use and cultivate the power of the 6 paths. Damn it, you're just a latecomer. You're not from the 6 paths at all. You don't deserve to cultivate the power of the 6 paths. Its black eyes roared nonstop. Lin Xin was stunned when he heard this. He asked, "So, you're from the 6 paths?" The black eye said proudly, "Of course." "That's great." The corners of Lin Xin's mouth curled up. "In that case, you should know the secret of the ancient 6 paths. Tell me, how was your sect destroyed? Who destroyed it? Also, does your sect really control the reincarnation sword? Where is it now?" Chapter 5970. Lin Xian asked a lot of questions in an instant because he was really too curious and had too many doubts. However, the black eye opposite him was angry. "Damn kid, who do you think you are? Why should I tell you? Also, you are a dying man. You don't need to know so much. You don't deserve to have the Rinnegan. I will take it." After that, the black eye began to bloom with a terrifying light. He summoned the terrifying resentful spirits between heaven and earth. "Kid, I know you are very powerful. Last time, I was no match for you. But now, this is the 6 Paths Gate. There are too many powerhouses who have fallen here. Some of their souls are still in this space. I can summon them. Can you resist it?" As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding cold wind blew, and ghosts wailed and wolves howled. The cold aura suppressed the air to the extreme. Bailing and the linen-clothed old man's faces changed drastically, and they retreated in horror. Lin Xian unleashed a vortex that enveloped their bodies. Only then did they manage to preserve their lives. At the same time, he walked out and said, "Outside, you are no match for me. Here, you are no match for me." What a joke. You are too reckless. Charge. The black eyes roared angrily. In the surroundings, the remnant souls that he summoned rushed over crazily. These remnant souls were really terrifying. These were all powerhouses from the primordial age or even the ancient times. They rushed over crazily, and in an instant, they enveloped Lin Xian. "Oh no, Lin Gongzi, be careful," Bailing and the others exclaimed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Six paths, I am the master. Retreat." The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation poured into his body. He roared angrily, and like the god of the heavenly Tao, he forced these remnant souls to retreat. These remnant souls were indeed unparalleled powerhouses when they were alive. However, the passage of time had already worn away the majority of their power. So, they are no match for me. Also, do you think you are the only one who can summon them? I will also let you see the new supernatural power that I have mastered. Lin Xian used the hell path of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Previously, he had marked the bones with his soul. They also walked out one after another. Some of them were as tall as ancient mountains. Some of them had black, purple, and golden bones. These were all the corpses left behind by terrifying experts after their deaths. Furthermore, their numbers were no less than those of the vengeful spirits. Seeing this scene, the black eyes were shocked and summoned the corpse. This was the power of the hell path. How could he possess the hell path? He was simply too shocked. He remembered that the last time he fought with the other party's renegade only had 3 paths: heaven, earth, and human. But none of these 3 methods could summon corpses. How long had it been since they last met? Yet, the other party had already grasped the hell path. Why? Are you surprised? That's right. I'm not an existence that you can understand. Thus, you're simply no match for me. The remnant soul and the corpse fought fiercely, resulting in a terrifying explosion. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. His renegade was blooming with mysterious light. He was full of confidence. On the other side, the black eyes were exasperated. Boy, don't be arrogant. These are all strong masters of the past. But they're not from the 6 paths sect. Now, I'm summoning people from the 6 paths sect. Let's see if you can resist them. You're too naive to fight against the 6 paths sect. The black eyes roared. The power of the evil spirit path above it became even more terrifying. Boom! In the distance, a broken palace suddenly split open. From inside, an extremely terrifying aura emerged. Then, an illusory figure walked out. This figure was very hazy. It was obvious that it was a remnant soul. However, he was really too terrifying. He was like a god above the 9 heavens. As soon as he appeared, he suppressed everything. What was this? Bailing's face turned pale. The linen-clothed old man's expression also changed drastically. He said, "It's really someone from the 6 paths sect. Lin Gongzi, you must be careful. He's from the ancient 6 paths sect. Moreover, he should be a peerless powerhouse of the past." Hearing this reminder, Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He also felt a huge pressure. It was just a remnant soul, but it was already so terrifying. It seemed that this person was also a great emperor when he was alive. Moreover, he was a great emperor who had mastered the 6 paths of reincarnation. How could he awaken such a terrifying remnant soul? It was a supreme elder. Even the black eyes lit up. He didn't expect to summon the remnant soul of a great emperor. He laughed. "Haha, the heavens are helping me. Kid, how are you going to resist? Ask the Grand Elder to kill them all. They're enemies. They want to take the 6 paths of reincarnation." The summoned ancient figure suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar. He raised his hand and struck out. A sword of the 6 paths came down fiercely. This sword was too terrifying. It wasn't the sword of reincarnation, but it contained the extremely strong power of the 6 paths. Lin Xian's expression changed drastically. He struck out the hand of the heavenly path to resist it. A pair of mystical eyes reached out a palm from inside and slapped at the sword of the 6 paths. After the collision, an earth-shattering sound was heard. Everyone's soul seemed to be about to split open. Lin Xian also took 2 steps back. He was so powerful. How could he block it? The black eyes were shocked. This kid's strength was really beyond his expectations. As for the summoned ancient figure, he rushed over and attacked non-stop. The swords of the 6 paths were like mountains, pressing down on Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the power of the renegade to fight back. However, in the end, he was angry. Humph, do you really think I can't suppress you? You're not good enough in sword skills. He took out the immortal killing sword and slashed it out, splitting the sword of the six paths. He attacked fiercely, and the two sides fought fiercely. This time, the sword of the six paths was completely suppressed. Lin Xian said coldly, "What else do you have? Although you summoned the soul of a great emperor, it's still a remnant soul. I've even killed a great emperor before, let alone a mere remnant soul." In the end, Lin Xian's sword slashed across the sky, forming a sword steel and directly suppressed the remnant soul of the great emperor. The sharp aura made it impossible for the other party to escape. It was too powerful. Bailing and the others cheered. However, the black eye's expression was ugly. Lin Xian walked forward. "Okay, it's time to deal with you." He was like a sword god, forcing the black eyes to retreat. In the end, the black eyes seemed to have made some kind of decision. "Damn kid, just you wait. You're dead meat." After that, he flew into the distance. He actually rushed towards the Stone of Three Lives. The Stone of Three Lives was 3 meters tall. It emitted a mysterious light. The black eyes directly rushed towards it, causing a monstrous movement. Then, the power of the evil spirit realm completely enveloped the Stone of Three Lives. What was he doing? Bailing and the others were stunned. Even Lin Xian frowned. In the next moment, he saw that the Stone of Three Lives cracked. From inside, a heart jumped out. Chapter 5971. The heart was extremely terrifying. It let out an earth-shaking sound like thunder. The endless power of the six paths surrounded it. Then, an illusory figure appeared in his heart. It was a woman, like a fairy from the 9 heavens. This magical scene shocked everyone. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together as he felt a sense of danger. The heart and the phantom of the woman had terrifying power. The evil spirit's eyes, however, laughed out loud. He said, "Kid, you're dead. Do you know what this heart is? Do you know what this woman's phantom is? She's the saintess of the Six Paths sect. Let's see how you'll die." The saintess of the ancient Six Paths sect was even more terrifying than the elder that was summoned before. "Who woke me up?" the saintess soul said in a deep voice. The black eyes said, "It's me, saintess. You're finally awake. This kid is not from the Six Paths sect. However, he has a Rinnegan. Capture him. If you take the Rinnegan, the Six Paths sect might have a chance to recover." The soul of the saintess of the Six Paths sect looked at Lin Xian. Suddenly, the world around Lin Xian collapsed. Lin Xian also kept retreating. His pupils constricted. His Rinnegan emitted a terrifying light and formed the 6 paths of reincarnation to resist. However, he was still forced back. What a terrifying power. This woman is too terrifying. Little guy, be careful. At this moment, DeLong also spoke. He said, "This woman is very strong. Moreover, the heart beside her should be left behind by the sect leader of the 6 Paths sect. That's the source of power. The combination of the two probably surpasses the strength of an ordinary great emperor." Hearing DeLong's words, Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Was he stronger than the average great emperor? No wonder his chi and blood were roiling, as if he was facing a great enemy. "It turns out that you're an ancient senior. Junior greets you here. However, I obtained the Rinnegan by chance. It already belongs to me. I can't give it away. Senior, if you have any unfulfilled wishes, you can tell me. I can help you fulfill them." Lin Xian's voice sounded. The black eyes in front snorted coldly. "You're not worthy. Saintess, don't listen to his excuses. This brat is very cunning. Immediately suppress him." The saintess of the 6 paths walked forward like an empress. As she walked, she carried the power of the 6 paths. "Not good," the ancient crocodile exclaimed. Bailing and the others were scared silly. Lin Xian also frowned. "Since we can't come to an agreement, we can only fight." He had never been afraid of anyone. He took out the immortal slaying sword and prepared to fight. He knew that this was going to be a tough battle. The figure ahead was a lot stronger than Martial Monarch Baiyu, the immortal Martial Monarch, and the others. Holy Daughter of the 6 Paths let out a cold harumph and waved her hand, causing the heart of the six paths to thump violently. Immediately, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire reincarnation mountain began to shake violently. Heaven and earth split open as countless mysterious forces erupted. Meanwhile, the martial monarchs and 9 heavens supremes who had stayed on the mountain were astounded too. They felt their blood run cold as they sensed an extremely powerful force. What's going on? The entire mountain peak was trembling. I could sense an astonishing power. Who is it? Is it an ancient existence that has awakened? Countless voices of discussion could be heard. Zhong Linxiu frowned. Chun Yixian's eyes also shone with a cold light. The aura of the ancient Six Paths Gate had surpassed that of an ordinary martial monarch. Could it be that there was still someone in the Six Paths Gate that had survived? Zhong Linxiu also said, I wonder how Linxian is doing. Although he is still alive, he has disappeared. In the Six Paths Gate, Linxian's blood was boiling. He took out the sky-devouring jar as if he was facing a great enemy. That heart had stirred up such a monstrous force with just a single beat. How powerful was this heart when it was alive? Could it have become an immortal? The black eyes laughed. Kid, do you see that? This is the power of our Saintess. You can't resist it at all. I only need one move, and you will be suppressed. When that time comes, I will make you wish you were dead. He laughed proudly. The Saintess of the Six Paths was expressionless. Her illusory palm grabbed forward. Just at this moment of crisis, Lin Xian was startled, because he had previously sent a few clones to the Sword World to dig for treasures. His purpose was to dig out some corpses of martial monarchs to summon. Now that Lin Xian was facing such a terrifying attack, he wanted to use the Wraith Path to summon the Palm of the Sun Valley to block it. However, before he could summon it, one of the clones sent a message that they had dug out something. It was a token, unusually simple and unadorned. He wondered what kind of metal it was made of. The word samsara was written on one side and token on the other. It was a samsara token. Lin Xian was surprised. He could feel an extremely ancient and mysterious aura from the token. Could it be related to the ancient Six Paths Gate? After thinking about it, Lin Xian immediately took out the token from the Sword World. He said coldly, Do you dare to attack me? Look at what this is. The black eyes snorted, Kid. You're about to die and you're still playing tricks. Do you think that by taking out a command token, you can scare us? It's useless. He snorted disdainfully. However, the Saintess of the Six Paths was stunned. Her hand stopped moving. In the next moment, an extremely shocking light burst out from her eyes. Then, she knelt on the ground. Saintess of the Six Paths greets the Lord of Samsara. This scene caused everyone to be stunned. Lin Xian was stunned. The black eyes were even more shocked. Behind him, Bailing and the plain-clothed elder were also stunned. What did they see? The Saintess of the Six Paths, who was extremely powerful and had surpassed the martial monarchs, was now kneeling on the ground. Was it because of the token? Lin Xian immediately understood. The black eyes were talking about the Lord of Samsara. Could it be that the token belonged to the Lord of Samsara? Lin Xian was too shocked. The Lord of Samsara used to be the owner of the Samsara sword and was extremely powerful. He didn't expect his token to fall in the ancient land. It was really shocking. Impossible. How could you have the token of the Lord of Samsara? Who are you? The black eyes roared crazily. Lin Xian looked at the black eyes and snorted. Why aren't you kneeling when you see the token? The black eyes threw themselves on the ground. However, he still couldn't believe it. Lin Xian snorted and slapped the black eyes. The black eyes screamed in horror and didn't dare to fight back. Now, do you still dare to take my Rinnegan? The black eyes kept shaking his head. No, I don't dare to. Young master, please spare me. Very good. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. Now, I command you to give me the power of the Wraith Realm. The black eyes cried after hearing this. The Saintess of the Six Paths said, Do you dare to disobey the order of the Lord of the Six Paths? Hearing this, the black eyes quickly said, No. He didn't dare to resist. He could only obediently hand over the evil spirit realm. Chapter 59-72. In this way, Lin Xian successfully obtained the evil ghost path and absorbed its power. Lin Xian's Rinnegan would become more powerful. He looked at the saintess of the six paths. He said, "Tell me about the six paths gate. How was it destroyed in the beginning? And the whereabouts of the samsara sword?" The saintess of the six paths said, "I'm just a remnant soul now. My soul is missing a lot. Who was the enemy? I don't know. I only know that countless strong masters came to the six paths gate together and fought a great battle. There were countless great emperors and supreme masters in that battle. There were even immortal realm masters. In the end, the ancient six paths gate was destroyed. The samsara sword was broken. What about the samsara master? The samsara master entered the cycle of reincarnation and only left a heart. Were they all dead? In that battle, there was actually an immortal level expert that appeared. Lin Xian was shocked. Although he didn't see it with his own eyes, he knew how terrifying it would be if so many great emperors attacked together. Were there any fragments of the samsara sword? Lin Xian asked. Yes. The saintess of the samsara said, "They are all in this heart." Lin Xian looked up at the heart floating in front of the three-life stone. He was shocked. Was this the heart left by the samsara master? There were fragments of the samsara sword in it. If he could get it, his strength would become even more terrifying. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and walked forward. However, after taking a few steps, he stopped. The reason for that was because when he approached the heart beat once, and a destructive power burst forth. Heaven and earth started to tremble violently once again. Even Lin Xian's blood and qi started to churn. He was only able to withstand the attack by using his majesty and holding the token of the Lord of Samsara. Otherwise, even a great emperor would be torn into two halves by this attack. How could this be? I can't get close to it even with the token of the Samsara master? Lin Xian frowned. The saintess of the six paths said, "Your strength is a little weak." Weak? Lin Xian smiled bitterly. With his current strength, he could even defeat Tin Crown King and other great emperors. Who would dare to say that he was weak? However, the saintess of the six paths made it sound very normal. She said, "Is your reincarnation power not enough? Then what should he do? Enhance the power of Rinnegan?" Lin Xian asked, "Do you have any resources or secret methods?" Saintess of the six paths shook her head. "Look at the surroundings. It's already in ruins. The powerful six Daos gate has already been destroyed. There's nothing left. What was left behind was also a few dilapidated walls. There was no other way." Lin Xian frowned. He wanted to enhance the power of the Rinnegan, but it would be too slow. Even if he absorbed the evil spirit realm, it would still be difficult for him to get close. However, at this moment, the saintess of the six paths spoke again. "There is still a way." Back then, there were still some things left behind. That was the three lives stone. The reincarnation three lives stone contained the power of reincarnation. The more he absorbed, the stronger the power of the six paths of reincarnation would be. The three lives stone. Lin Xian took a deep breath and stared at the 3-meter-tall three lives stone in front of him. However, the saintess of the six paths said, "This won't do. This contains the heart of the Lord of Reincarnation. Look for others." Then, she waved her hand and grabbed a stone from the distance. This stone was not big, only the size of a fist, but it also contained the power of the six paths of reincarnation. "This is the other three lives stone. You can absorb some." "Are there many of these stones?" Lin Xian asked. The saintess of the six paths shook her head. "There are 36 reincarnation three lives stone in total, distributed in different places in the reincarnation mountain. Not only here, but also on the mountain outside. You'd better do it quickly. I can sense the aura of many great emperors outside." Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "I know." Lin Xian began to use his Rinnegan to collect the three live stones. In the blink of an eye, he had collected 9, but it was still not enough. Lin Xian felt that he had to collect 36 of them. At the same time, the great emperors and supremes on the mountain outside were also shocked. Just now, it jumped again. What a terrifying power. "Look, I found a stone. This stone contains the power of the six paths. The spiritual sovereign laughed loudly. The other supremes and great emperors quickly turned their heads to look. In the next moment, their eyes turned red. A stone containing the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. This was a treasure of the ancient 6 paths gate. Woof woof. At this moment, the big yellow dog under Chen Yixian's feet suddenly burst out and rushed out. It bit at Supreme Huangling's arm. Supreme Huangling screamed, and the 3 lives stone in his hand fell from his hand. Damn it! Where did this stupid dog come from? Get out of here! He sent the big yellow dog flying with a slap. The big yellow dog rolled a few times in the air and bared its teeth. It seemed that it was not injured. This surprised everyone. This dog is so terrifying. Don't worry, it's still here, Emperor Bu said. He stretched out his hand, enveloping the 3 lives stone and grabbing it. But at this moment, the space flashed and the 3 lives stone disappeared. How is this possible? Who is it? Get out of here! Emperor Bu roared crazily. He was going crazy. The 3 lives stone disappeared in his hand? Supreme Huangling also roared. They began to search in all directions. Some of them stared at the big yellow dog and Chen Yixuan. Did you do this? Chen Yixian said, Shanzai, Shanzai, which eye of yours saw me do it? The immortal emperor was puzzled as well. The disappearance of Lin Fan's soul was indeed strange. The 2 of them stared at Chen Yixian, unwilling to give up. At this moment, Emperor Baiyu laughed. I found another one. He flapped the wings on his back and hit the mountain peak. Immediately, a rock flew toward him. It also contained the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. It was another 3 lives stone. Great. He reached out to grab it, but the stone disappeared in the air. Damn it! Emperor Baiyu roared. The feathers on his body covered the sky and pierced through the 9 heavens. But he still couldn't leave behind the 3 lives stone. Just like that, the 3 lives stone vanished into thin air. Is it the law of space? The immortal emperor asked. This scene was the same as when he had disappeared. However, Emperor Baiyu frowned. He said, I didn't sense the law of space. Is it the Gu family? Many people looked over, but they didn't find anything. Some people said, could there be someone stronger than us secretly attacking? The people who came were all experts. There were even a few great emperors. But they knew that they weren't the strongest. There were strong and weak great emperors. They had only cultivated 1 strand of immortal qi. There were people who managed to cultivate 2 das. Therefore, perhaps there really was someone even more powerful hiding in the dark. A supreme being said, could it be someone from the ancient 6 paths sect who hasn't died yet? If that was the case, then it would be an ancient senior. At this point, a supreme being hurriedly cupped his fists and said, Senior from the ancient 6 paths sect, we didn't mean to disturb you. Senior, please be merciful. Emperor Bu didn't dare to be presumptuous. No matter how strong he was no match for an ancient expert. So he cupped his fists and said, Senior, please calm down. Senior, please be merciful. Emperor Baiyu, Supreme Huangling, and the others all cupped their fists. At this moment, they became extremely respectful. Then they said, let's go and find something else. They continued to search. Chapter 59, 73. There were already 20 stones in front of Lin Xian. Each of them contained information about the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to absorb the power on them. His eyes became more and more mysterious. The 3 life stones contained the complete power of the 6 paths. In other words, the missing Tao of Azura was also filled in by the 3 life stones. Lin Xian only needed to absorb the power of these 3 life stones. His Rinnegan would become perfect and powerful. The people outside continued to attack. Next, they found a few more 3 life stones and fought with each other. The battle between the great emperors and supremes erupted, shaking heaven and earth. However, just as they were about to get their hands on them, the 3 life stones all disappeared inexplicably. This made them vomit blood in anger. Damn it! This ancient senior was way too greedy. Wasn't he? Could it be that he wanted all the treasures? Damn it, let's fight it out with him. There are so many of us. Do we have to be afraid of him? Of course, there were also people who said, don't be rash. This is the Six Paths Gate. Who knows what unknown power there is? It's not wise to offend them. Let's avoid them for now. There were all kinds of discussions. In the end, they didn't get anything. In front of Lin Xian, there were already 36 reincarnation stones. The 36 three-life stones circled around him. It was as if they formed a perfect six paths world. Endless six rays of light bloomed, and Lin Xian quickly absorbed the power. In the next moment, heaven and earth shook, and the entire reincarnation mountain changed. The Supremes and Great Emperors outside were shocked. What happened? It was that mysterious power. When they looked carefully, they found that it seemed to be different. The mountain peak cracked, and there was a world inside. They found that the mountain peak cracked, and there was a new space inside. They all rushed out. In the next moment, they were stunned. What an ancient aura! The broken palace, the ancient power. Could this be the ancient Six Paths Gate? The great emperors and supremes were stunned. Zhong Lingxiu and Chen Yixian were also surprised and looked around curiously. Suddenly, at this moment, someone said, "Look, isn't that the three life stones from before?" They had disappeared outside, but all of them had appeared here. Someone pointed ahead. Everyone turned their heads. In the next moment, their eyes turned red. If they could get the 36 three life stones, they could definitely condense the reincarnation law. At that time, they might even be able to summon the reincarnation sword. Everyone was extremely excited and quickly rushed over. Boom! The power of the six paths of reincarnation erupted, knocking back all those who came. Everyone was terrified. How terrifying! Everyone, don't act rashly. Great Emperor Baiyu shouted, "Let's study it first. Are there any powerful formations?" The rest of the martial monarchs and 9 heavens supremes nodded, of crack. At this moment, a crack suddenly appeared on the 3 lives stone, giving everyone a fright. When they looked carefully, they discovered that some of the 3 lives stones were indeed cracked. There was no light on it, and the power of reincarnation had disappeared. The immortal emperor roared, "Who is it? Get out here." Great Emperor Baiyu also snorted coldly. Could it be inside? They were murderous and wanted to attack. Stop! Who dares to attack? At this moment, the Saintess of the Six Paths flew over and said coldly, "Who dares to attack the Master of Reincarnation?" What? The Master of Reincarnation? Great Emperor Baiyu was stunned. The immortal emperor's scalp went numb. This was a legendary ancient powerhouse. Could it be that he really didn't die? Thinking of this, they hurriedly cupped their fists and bowed. "Greetings, Senior, Master of Reincarnation. Master of Reincarnation, please forgive my rudeness." Everyone bowed to him respectfully. Bailing and the old man in plain clothes had strange expressions after seeing this. It wasn't the Master of Reincarnation. It was Lin Xian who had taken the Master of Reincarnation's token. These people didn't worship the Master of Reincarnation. It was Lin Xian. They wondered what the great emperors and supremes' expressions would be when they found out. That was more like it. The Saintess of the Six Paths didn't care about this. Whoever had the Master of Reincarnation's token was her master. Therefore, she said coldly, "You people, wait. The Master of Reincarnation is cultivating. Don't disturb him."
Yes.
The immortal emperor, Supreme Huangling, and the others hurriedly nodded. They stood to the side respectfully. Everyone quieted down, not daring to disturb him. More and more cracks appeared on the 3 life stone. The last few 3 life stones shattered into pieces. Then, more 3 life stones shattered. When the final 3 lives stone cracked open, Lin Xian walked out of it. He roared to the sky, and the rinnegan in his right eye shone with a mysterious light. At this moment, his eye became perfect. It contained the 6 paths and was much more powerful than before. This was great. Lin Xian was overjoyed. This time, his strength had increased so much that it was beyond his imagination. Moreover, he might get the fragment of the reincarnation sword. How could he not be excited? When the others saw this, they were dumbfounded. What was going on? It was this kid. This kid was the Master of Reincarnation. What kind of joke was this? The immortal emperor roared. The Baiyu emperor also frowned. He said coldly, "Kid, how dare you secretly absorb the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation?" Kneel down and give me your power and your eye." Countless furious roars could be heard. At this moment, everyone stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian laughed. "How dare you be rude to me? You people are courting death. Weren't all of you respectfully addressing me as senior and bowing to me earlier? How could you forget it after a few days? You're courting death." The Bayou Emperor was so angry that he vomited blood. He bowed and spoke humbly because he thought it was the master of reincarnation, the master of the 6 paths of reincarnation. But he didn't expect it to be this kid. Supreme Huangling and Supreme Wu Hui's faces darkened. They had been fooled. It was too embarrassing for them to bow to a young man. Kill him. This kid was pretending to be mysterious. Kill him to relieve the hatred in their hearts. Many people rushed out. Supreme Wu Hui was the first to attack. He threw out the Wu Hui cauldron. He knocked it fiercely. There were illusions on it that could make people's souls lose their minds. How bold. The saintess of the 6 paths roared and wanted to attack. Lin Xian stopped her. He said, "No, I'll do it. I also want to try the power of the Rinnegan." After that, Lin Xian looked at Supreme Wu Hui and said, "Come here. I'll grant you death. You're courting death." Supreme Wu Hui was furious. He said, "Seal of no regrets." He formed a seal with his palm and slapped it fiercely. His palm print carried an extremely terrifying murderous intent, as if there was no return. This was his famous unique skill. After the attack, the great emperor didn't feel good either. He didn't believe that the other party could resist it. "Humph. Insignificant skill." Lin Xian sneered. His Rinnegan bloomed. This time, it really turned into 6 worlds. The 6 paths of reincarnation directly enveloped this attack. Chapter 59-74. Boom. The seal of no regrets shattered. Then, the 6 paths of reincarnation spun and slammed into Supreme Wu Hui. Supreme Wu Hui spat out blood and was sent flying. He held his head and screamed. His soul had been hit. Was he hurt? He sent Supreme Wu Hui flying with just one look. Oh heavens, has this kid's soul become so strong to such an extent? The Rinnegan contained the true 6 paths. He had cultivated the perfect Rinnegan. The immortal emperor roared madly as well. Martial Monarch Baiyu, Supreme Huangling, and the others wore twisted expressions. He had absorbed so much power from the 3 lives stone. Had he finally evolved his Rinnegan to this level? Damn it, we can't let him live anymore. Everyone, attack together. Martial Monarch Baiyu stepped forward. Emperor Bumie and Supreme Huangling also stepped forward. On the other side, Supreme Wu Hui also came back. He was covered in blood and looked ferocious. "How dare you hurt me? I'll make you wish you were dead." The 4 top experts joined forces again. Last time, Lin Xian couldn't resist such an attack. This time, he was going to die. "How dare you attack the master of reincarnation? Do you want to die?" The saintess of the 6 paths walked out and snorted. Emperor Baiyu said, "I'm from the other world. How dare you interfere with my business? Get lost." The saintess of the 6 paths sneered. "So what if you're from the other world? I'm the saintess of the 6 paths gate. Although this place is destroyed, it's still the territory of the 6 paths gate. Are you challenging me?" Her cold voice resounded in all directions. When the people around heard this, they were all stunned. What? She's the saintess of the 6 paths? The saintess of the ancient 6 paths gate? It was too inconceivable. Her remnant soul actually still existed. So what if she was the saintess of the 6 paths? Emperor Baiyu roared. It's already a broken sect. How can it compete with the other world? The other world is the strongest overlord. Then, he slapped out. Terrifying immortal chi surrounded him as he attacked the saintess of the 6 paths. The saintess of the 6 paths snorted. Fist of the 6 paths of reincarnation. The broken soul threw out a super strong punch with a terrifying power that caused the void to tremble. The punch sent Martial Monarch Baiyu flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His arms were all broken, blood dripping down into the 9 heavens. The surrounding people were shocked. Even a remnant soul was so powerful. It was too unbelievable. The holy daughter of the 6 paths must have been a great emperor when she was alive. As expected of the ancient 6 paths gate, It was truly terrifying. Even after being dead for tens of thousands of years, it still possessed such power. Damn it! How is this possible? So powerful. Emperor Baiyu's face turned ugly. He did not expect a remnant soul to be so quiet. However, the immortal emperor said, "No, look in the distance, there's a heart." His soul was connected to the saintess of the six paths, and he was providing her with power. Everyone looked into the distance, and sure enough, there was a heart there. Beside the heart, there was a 3-meter-tall rock. The power of the six paths of reincarnation on it was even more terrifying. This was the real reincarnation stone of 3 lives. If we can obtain it, we will definitely possess the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Huangling Supreme's eyes turned red instantly. The immortal emperor roared and charged forward. He didn't care about anything else, but he had to get his hands on this heart. His heart, the immortal heart, had been taken away by the demon emperor, which greatly reduced his power. If he could obtain the other heart, he would definitely be able to return to his peak. Therefore, he charged over without hesitation. Stupid! The saintess of the 6 paths snorted and did not stop him. On the other side, the black-eyed man also sneered. "You're courting death. How dare you covet this heart?" The immortal supremacy was very fast. In an instant, he was in front of the heart. He reached out his hand and grabbed at the heart. The surrounding people were shocked. Was this treasure going to be taken away by him? However, at this moment, the heart beat violently. The sky fell, and the earth cracked. The imperishable supremacy's body was torn to shreds, torn to shreds. The immortal supremacy turned around and fled with his broken body. He let out a miserable cry, his eyes filled with infinite fear. It was too terrifying. The heart beat once, and his body was shattered. Whose heart was this? It was the heart of an immortal. It was completely beyond his imagination. Even if he really got it, he didn't dare to use it, because his body couldn't bear it. How could this be? Great Emperor Baiyu and the others also stopped in their tracks. All the other powerhouses retreated in fear. This heart was too terrifying. It wasn't something they could get. For a moment, the atmosphere was extremely strange. Everyone's eyes were filled with fear. "Idiot!" Lin Xian sneered. "What did you say?" Great Emperor Baiyu roared. Lin Xian said, "I said you're an idiot. You, and you, are all idiots. You want the treasure, but you don't have the strength. Hurry up and get lost. Don't embarrass yourself here." Damn it! Great Emperor Baiyu and the others gritted their teeth. Huangling Supreme also said, "We don't have the courage." "Humph, do you dare to move forward? Why wouldn't you dare? Open your dog eyes and look carefully. Look at how I'm going to get the treasure." Lin Xian said coldly. Then, he walked forward. No way, right? He dared to go forward? What kind of joke was this? This heart definitely had an extraordinary origin. Even the power of a great emperor couldn't bear it, let alone him. He was the Tin Crown King. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't have a chance to get it. Countless voices came from the kiln. Zhong Lingxiu also sucked in a breath of cold air. Faced with this heart, her born Taoism aptitude was also on the verge of cracking. She looked at Chen Yixian and said, "Master, should we persuade him?" Chen Yixian threw a few copper coins in the void. Then, her eyes lit up. "No need. I just did a divination for him. It was scary but not dangerous. This kid might be able to create a miracle. It was scary but not dangerous." After hearing this, Zhong Lingxiu was shocked. Could it be that Lin Xian could really get this heart? But how could he use it? No one would be able to withstand the power of this heart. Under everyone's attentive gazes, Lin Xian walked forward and approached the heart. He felt a huge pressure. He opened his rinnegan to resist this pressure and continued to move forward. Finally, he moved forward for a distance. However, he stopped and couldn't move forward anymore. Seeing this scene, Great Emperor Baiyu sneered. "It's not working. I knew he didn't have the ability." Supreme Huangling also shook his head. "It turns out that it's just a facade. How disappointing." The other great emperors and supremes also shook their heads and sighed. It seems that no one can get this treasure. Just when they thought it was impossible, Lin Xian took another step forward. He walked forward. Immortal Supreme snorted. His body would be broken into pieces, just like before. Even with his indestructible body, he still suffered such a terrible injury. He estimated that the other party would be killed in an instant. The others also had the same thought. But in the next moment, they were stunned. Nothing happened. How could it be? Immortal Supreme's eyes almost popped out. His indestructible body was severely injured, but the other party was unharmed. Moreover, the heart wasn't beating. Damn it. Why? Why? Was his luck that good? Chapter 59-75. Lucky? The Saintess of Six Paths sneered. You're so stupid. He's not lucky. He's the only one who can get close to the heart. What do you mean? The Void Emperor sneered. However, the Saintess of Six Paths ignored him. Was he being ignored? The Void Emperor was so angry that he almost vomited blood. However, he didn't dare to fight her. The Saintess of Six Paths was very strong. Supreme Huangling said, "Look at that kid. He's holding a token. Is it because of that token?" "Yes, that must be it." Great Emperor Baiyu gritted her teeth. "What token is that? Why does it have such a magical effect?" With the token of the Master of Samsara, Lin Xian finally arrived in front of the heart. He looked at the heart and said, "I'm here to take the fragment of the Samsara sword. I'll bring the Six Paths gate back to the world." As if it understood Lin Xian, the heart in front of him started beating again. Every time it beat, it felt like the world was falling apart. The surrounding Supremes and Great Emperors all retreated. Their blood was boiling, and their faces were full of fear. If they continued to jump, their bodies would be torn apart. Buzz. At this moment, the heart cracked open, and a palm-sized fragment floated out from within. There were mysterious patterns on the fragment, which was extremely terrifying. As soon as it appeared, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook, and the clouds in the heavenly land changed. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines. Great Emperor Baiyu was shocked. Is this the fragment of the legendary Samsara sword? Heavens, there's a fragment of the Samsara sword here. The eyes of the Bone Emperor, the Yellow Spring Emperor, and the others turned red. This thing was much more precious than the 3 live stone. If they could get it, they might be able to inherit the Samsara sword. Attack. The surrounding people attacked crazily. At this moment, even the great emperors attacked. Who dared? The Saintess of Six Paths shouted coldly. She struck out with the Sword of Six Paths. However, only stopped a few people. The other Supremes and Great Emperors rushed over. They charged toward Lin Xian. "Get out of here, kid. Just you?" He was not qualified to obtain the fragment of the Samsara sword. Countless furious roars could be heard. After Lin Xian heard this, his brows furrowed tightly. He turned his head slightly, and a fierce look appeared in his eyes. It wouldn't be that easy to reap the benefits of a third party. With a wave of his hand, he activated the 6 paths of reincarnation token. In that instant, the heart in front of him thumped. Following a loud explosion, the martial monarchs were sent flying while coughing up blood. Cracks began to appear on the bodies of the martial monarchs. Their scalps went numb. It was simply too frightening. At this moment, the shattered fragments of the reincarnation sword started to shine brightly. A monstrous aura swept out. Everyone retreated in fear. People like the Black Eye, the Saintess of the 6 Paths, and the old man were all kneeling on the ground. Their eyes were filled with admiration. This was the true power of reincarnation. The immortal heavenly monarch said, "Retreat for now and wait for this power to disappear before attacking again." The Yellow Spring Great Emperor's eyes shone brightly as he unleashed the yellow spring water that filled the sky. "We can't let this kid have his way. This thing belongs to us." The White Feather Great Emperor's face was even colder. He crushed a token and snorted inwardly, "No one can snatch this thing from us." These people were all waiting and preparing in secret. As soon as the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation disappeared, they would quickly make their move. As expected, the heart didn't continue to erupt with power. He stopped beating, and even the cracks on his body slowly disappeared. It seemed that it was going to return to the three-life stone. Oh no! The ancient crocodile's expression changed drastically when he saw this scene. Zhong Lingxiu also said, "This way, Lin Xian will be in danger." "Master, do you have any ideas?" Chun Yixin shook her head. "Unless he gives up the fragments of the reincarnation sword, he will definitely become the target of public criticism." Lin Xian naturally understood this. He turned around and looked at the martial monarchs around him. "Do you want this?" "Impossible. Kid, hand it over and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I'll destroy your heart and soul." One after another, angry roars sounded. Bone Emperor also said, "Hand it over and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, I won't be merciful." Lin Xian threw his head back and laughed. "If you want it, it'll depend on your ability." The 6 paths of reincarnation. At this moment, Lin Xian's Rinnegan suddenly erupted and an illusory eye appeared in the sky. This eye seemed to have been born with only one eye. It looked down on all living things and coldly stared at everyone. At this moment, even the martial monarchs and martial monarchs' pupils shrank. They didn't know why. They felt a chill run down their spines. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's Rinnegan shone brightly. The real 6 paths of reincarnation summoned the remnant souls and broken bones between heaven and earth. At this moment, the remaining power of the powerhouses who died in the 6 paths of reincarnation all erupted. There were broken souls whistling in all directions. There were also broken bones. At this moment, they stood up from the ground and swept across the world. These weren't weaklings. They were super powerhouses who died in the ancient times. There were a lot of martial monarchs. At this moment, they were summoned by Lin Xian. It was really terrifying. At this moment, the ancient 6 paths of reincarnation seemed to have turned into Azura hell. "Get lost." Immediately, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor roared and the Yellow River swept in all directions. He also summoned some white bones. But at this moment, a big palm slapped down from the sky. It was a white bone palm. It directly smashed the Yellow River water all over the sky. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of horror. Damn it! What kind of powerhouse is this? What kind of battle happened in the past? Not only him, but Bone Emperor was also entangled by evil spirits. There were 4 phantoms of evil spirits rushing over quickly. Those evil spirits were the remnant souls of the martial monarchs. In addition, Supreme Huangling, Wu Mia, Supreme Wu Hui, and Baiyu Emperor. Everyone was under attack. A great battle broke out in an instant. It was earth-shattering. The linen-clothed elder, bailing, and the others were full of despair. Fortunately, Lin Xian used the power of the sky-swallowing jar to envelop them and take them away. He looked around and said coldly, "Let's fight. Fight to your heart's content." The battle was very terrifying. Lin Xian turned around and faced the fragment of the Samsara sword. He wanted to take the fragment of the Samsara sword, but the process was not simple. The fragment of the Samsara sword was also very terrifying. If he wanted to subdue it, he had to get the recognition of the fragment. Lin Xian used the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation to fight against the fragment. "Damn it! Stop that kid. I can't let him succeed." Baiyu Emperor roared crazily. The wings on his back spread out like a heavenly knife, sweeping in all directions. In an instant, the sky and earth were split into 2. Endless light rushed toward Lin Xian. It wanted to swallow Lin Xian. Boom! The Saintess of the 6 paths struck out the sword of 6 paths and stopped Baiyu Emperor. At the same time, she said, "How dare you be rude to the master of Samsara?" She flicked her fingers, and sword chi danced in the air as she fought with Great Emperor Baiyu. The others wanted to come over. In the end, they were either sent flying by the power of the 6 paths or attacked by the other martial monarchs. The scene was very terrifying. The scene here naturally attracted the attention of others. It was not only the heavenly land. The deity ground and the universe outside also saw it. There was no other way. There were so many martial monarchs fighting. Even though they were separated by the endless void, they could feel it clearly. Chapter 59-76. In the heavens, A sea of lightning filled the air. A tall figure stood there. He was the Thunderclap Emperor. At this moment, a cold light burst out from his eyes. A jade pendant on his body sent a message. You found the reincarnation sword fragment. Come and help me. You found the reincarnation sword fragment. The Thunderclap Emperor immediately soared into the sky and charged into the distance with endless lightning. This thing must belong to the Paramitha. In an ancient city in the heavens, Linjan, Lord Alcohol, and the others also saw this scene. It was the reincarnation sword fragment in Xian-Er's aura. It seemed that he was in trouble. Who will go? Lord Alcohol asked. Linjan walked out and said, This time, I'll go. I'll help Xian-Er get the reincarnation sword fragment. That's good too. This time around, you and your father should be able to shock those people by joining hands. Lord Alcohol and the others also smiled. Linjan soared into the sky. The Paramitha also sensed it. This news even spread to the virtual immortal. The virtual immortal opened his eyes, and his gaze seemed to pierce through the 9 heavens. He said, The reincarnation sword fragment actually appeared at this time. Well, let's get it then. An expert beside him asked, Virtual immortal, should we attack? The virtual immortal shook his head slightly. No, that place has by you and Thunderclap. I'll give them another phantom of the heavenly punishment sword. I think they should be able to succeed. As for the 3 of you, get ready. We're going to the 9 underworlds. The divine realm has taken the initiative in the heavens. It will be difficult for us to turn the tables. Therefore, we have to occupy the 9 underworlds first. Yes. The 3 figures in front cupped their fists and said. They prepared to leave. As for the virtual immortal, he grabbed the sky with his hand. Suddenly, in the depths of the Paramitha, the light of heavenly punishment appeared and condensed into a sword of lightning. The power of the lightning Tao on it was extremely terrifying. Moreover, it was all red lightning. This was the true heavenly punishment. The phantom of the heavenly punishment sword was too terrifying. Lei Yi, the virtual immortal said coldly. In the distance, a young figure flew over. It was a handsome man. He knelt on one knee. Grandpa, you're looking for me? He was actually the grandson of the virtual immortal. His strength was actually at the great emperor level. The virtual immortal said, I'll give you a phantom of the heavenly punishment sword. Take it with you and head to the heavenly land. You must bring me the fragments of the samsara sword. Understood. Lei Yi carefully took the phantom image of the heavenly punishment sword, then rose into the air and left. As for the other families in the deity ground and the great emperor families in the universe, they were also shocked. However, they only dared to watch from afar and did not dare to send people over. They could clearly sense that more than one great emperor was heading there. With such a lineup and combat strength, they simply couldn't resist. In the 6 Paths Gate, the battle was still as terrifying as ever. Originally, the 6 Paths Gate was already in ruins. Therefore, the martial monarchs and 9 heavens supremes did not hold back at all. The impact caused the surroundings to be even more shattered. Great Emperor Baiyu gave the order. By relying on Higgins' identity, he had somehow become a leader. He led the other rogue great emperors and rushed over. On the other side, the Paragon seemed to have joined forces for the time being. After all, they were allied with the Paragon Palace. They no longer fought on their own. Now that they joined forces, they gradually pushed back the white bones and remnant souls. When the Saintess of the 6 Paths saw this, she snorted coldly, Protect the Samsara Master. The sword chi of the 6 Paths of reincarnation in her hand shone even more brightly. She even summoned a few corpses. These corpses were the powerhouses of the 6 Paths Gate in the past. Previously, they were buried under the ground. Now, at this critical moment, the Saintess of the 6 Paths took them out. These figures were extremely terrifying. They used the 6 Paths of reincarnation fist, and their fists suppressed the world. Once again, they fought with the 9 heaven supremes and great emperors. Boom, boom. Shocking power came, and the blood of great Emperor Baiyu and the others boiled. Damn it, why isn't Jinglei here yet? Great Emperor Baiyu gritted his teeth. Calculating the time, he should be here by now. At this moment, heaven and earth split open, and endless lightning filled the air. The lightning turned into spears and descended with terrifying immortal chi. Like the spears of the thunder god, they sent the corpses flying. So powerful. The ancient crocodile, Black Eye, and the others were shocked. Are there more powerhouses coming? The Yellow Spring Great Emperor, Void Great Emperor, and the others also looked up at the sky. They exclaimed, "What terrifying lightning! Could it be the Jinglei Great Emperor from the other world?" In the sea of lightning, a tall man walked out. He was wearing a thunder robe and looked extraordinarily mighty. Terrifying lightning surrounded his body, making him look like a peerless thunder god. He said coldly, "Wu, the Jinglei Great Emperor from the other world. It's really someone from the other world. This person is so terrifying." The Supremes frowned. Great Emperor Baiyu smiled. "You're finally here." Lin Xian, who was in front of him, also frowned. "Is the second Great Emperor from the other world here? What kind of good news was this?" He had to hurry up and collect the fragment of the reincarnation sword. At this moment, he had established a connection with the fragment of the reincarnation sword. However, he couldn't take it away for now. He still needed some time. When the Jinglei Great Emperor arrived, he stared at the fragment of the reincarnation sword in front of him. His eyes shone with cold light. "This thing belongs to the other world." His words were so arrogant that he didn't take the others seriously at all. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor, Bone Emperor, and the others all snorted. The other Supremes also frowned. One of them, Heavenly Saber Supreme, said coldly, "Aren't you too overbearing? Take it with your own strength. Otherwise, we won't accept it. If we don't accept it, we'll die." The Jinglei Great Emperor was very powerful. He condensed the Thunder God's spear in his hand and threw it out. Heavenly Saber Supreme roared, "Do you think I'm a pushover?" He threw out the terrifying Heavenly Saber. The collision of the two was earth-shattering. However, Heavenly Saber Supreme flew backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of shock. What terrifying lightning! The Jinglei Great Emperor snorted, "You're just a Supremes. How dare you compete with me with your incomplete power? I've never been afraid of anyone at the same level as me." The Thunderclap Emperor was filled with boundless arrogance, which shocked the crowd. It seemed that this guy's strength was even more terrifying than Baiyu Great Emperor. Seeing that no one dared to refute, the Jinglei Great Emperor turned his head and looked at Lin Xian. He frowned and said, "Where did this ant come from? How dare you covet the fragment of the Samsara sword? Get out of here." A furious roar that sounded like the roar of a thunder god was heard. Rolling thunderclouds rushed forward, intending to tear Lin Xian into pieces. Buzz. Lin Xian didn't look back. He waved his hand and the power of the sky-swallowing jar appeared. It formed a vortex and swallowed the sea of thunder. The next moment, he said coldly, "How dare you attack me? Do you want to die? Which hand did it? Cut it off yourself. Don't make me do it. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer." Everyone went crazy. This guy is provoking the Jinglei Great Emperor. The Jinglei Great Emperor was also angry. "Good boy. No one has dared to challenge me for many years. I didn't expect a young ant like you to be so reckless. Well, I'll kill you with my own hands." Chapter 59:77. The Thunderclap Emperor was completely enraged. The lightning in his hand formed into the Thunder God's spear, and he swung it forward. This was his opponent's unique skill, and it was much more powerful than before. The surrounding people all exclaimed in surprise. In their opinion, Lin Xian might not be able to block it. After all, the Thunderclap Emperor's power was too terrifying. Lin Xian performed the 6 paths of reincarnation fist, and the terrifying fist killed his opponent. It clashed with the Thunder God's spear. It actually knocked all the Thunder God's spears away. It was so powerful. The surrounding people exclaimed, and Heavenly Tao Supreme and the others frowned. He had fought with the Thunderclap Emperor before, so he naturally knew how terrifying the Thunder God's spear was. In his opinion, an ordinary Great Emperor would not be able to block it. However, Lin Xian casually knocked it away with his fist. Could it be that this kid has become so powerful? Is this all you've got? Lin Xian withdrew his fist, shook his head and said, "You're so weak. Higgin, you've really disappointed me. Stupid thing." The Thunderclap Emperor was also angry. "Young man, I admit that you're very powerful and rare among the great emperors. However, you shouldn't have provoked me, because I'm not someone you can imagine." The Thunder God claw. He reached out his hand and grabbed forward. Above his palm, endless lightning and immortal chi filled the air. It was like the hand of the Thunder God reaching out from the 9 heavens' immortal palace. Lin Xian snorted, and the divine fire on his body flickered, forming a fire god to fight against it. The collision between the Thunder God and the Fire God was like a real battle between two gods. The terrifying and destructive power swept in all directions. He blocked it again? The surrounding people were stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so terrifying. Not only that, Lin Xian blocked his opponent with a punch and at the same time, attacked again. He waved his hand, took out the immortal slaying sword, and slashed forward. This sword had the power to destroy heaven and earth, and it had the power to break the sky. The slash landed on the body of the Thunderclap martial monarch, causing a tear to appear on his battle robe. The Thunderclap Emperor's expression changed. He turned into a flash of light and dodged quickly. He retreated to the back and his face darkened. What a sharp sword! What's going on with this kid? How could he be so powerful? Emperor Baiyu rushed over and said, "Thunder, be careful. He is Lin Wudi, the successor of the 9 sons. Furthermore, he was also the successor of the great dragon sword." So it was him. Realization dawned on the Thunderclap monarch. No wonder he was so powerful. Was it this brat who had gone against them so many times? The great dragon sword is indeed extraordinary, but it's a pity that it's in his hands. I'll take it from him. Great Emperor Baiyu said, "Let's work together to avoid any more trouble." After all, there were quite a number of people from the palace of Paragon here. The Thunderclap Emperor nodded his head in agreement. The Paragon Palace was indeed a troublesome faction to deal with. Moreover, no one knew when the people from the God Realm would come. Therefore, they were prepared to join forces. Great Emperor Baiyu, Great Emperor Bumie, and several other great emperors in the distance all walked over. They stood together. Their auras were so terrifying that they could destroy everything. After reading it, Lin Xian laughed heartily. Team up again. The youngest among you is tens of thousands of years old, and the oldest has lived for hundreds of thousands of years. You haven't learned anything except being shameless? Isn't the otherworld heavenly king high and mighty? Isn't it the supreme overlord? You can only work together with the young man to deal with me. The otherworld heavenly king really disappoints me. Everyone's expression changed drastically. The Thunderclap monarch was even more furious. How dare you challenge the otherworld heavenly king? You're courting death. Lin Xian said, "Why can't I challenge you? Who can defeat me in a one-on-one fight?" At that moment, he was extremely arrogant. Countless experts, including Great Emperor Baiyu, were at a loss for words. Indeed, several great emperors from the otherworld heavenly king had been defeated by him one after another. There was nothing they could do. Could it be that the otherworld heavenly king was going to be defeated? Impossible. They were the supreme and most powerful beings. How could they lose to him? You want to fight one-on-one? I'll grant you your wish. At this moment, another voice came from the sky. Then, with a flash of lightning, another wave of lightning descended. Then, a handsome man walked out. Someone else is here? Who is this man? He's so young. Is he also a young man? When the surrounding utmost being experts saw this scene, they exclaimed in shock. This man was unfamiliar. Great Emperor Baiyu and the Thunderclap Emperor exclaimed, "Why are you here too, Mr. Lei Yi?" The other supreme beings exclaimed, "Mr. Lei Yi, is he also from the otherworld heavenly king?" Oh heavens, another great emperor from the otherworld heavenly king has arrived. No wonder they're the supreme overlord. Their foundation is too strong. Who are you? Tell me your name. I don't kill nameless people. Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly, "You're courting death. He's from the otherworld heavenly king, Mr. Lei Yi." The Thunderclap Emperor roared. Never heard of him. Lin Xian was annoyed. What Tom? Dick, and Harry. Do I have to know all of them? Great Emperor Baiyu was also angry. Young man, you're too reckless. Do you know that Mr. Lei Yi is the grandson of the virtual immortal of the Otherworld Heavenly King? His strength and identity are not something you can imagine. The grandson of a heavenly king? The surrounding people were shocked. They knew that the virtual immortal was a person who became an immortal. Even Lin Xian was stunned. He was familiar with the name virtual immortal. He had never seen this person before, but he had some contact with him. In hell, Tin Crown King, the heavenly Pong, was suppressed. It was the doing of the virtual immortal. 100,000 years ago, the Tin Crown King, a peerless expert of the Dragon Clan, was also suppressed by the immortal beheading sword. The dragon-slaying sword was also from the virtual immortal. This person was very strong and called himself a heavenly king. Moreover, he liked to suppress the Tin Crown King. Unexpectedly, this time, the heavenly king did not appear, but his grandson did. Moreover, the heavenly king's grandson was a great emperor. It had to be said that the heavenly king's foundation was very deep. One had to know that the sons of great emperors usually could not become great emperors. However, even the grandson of a virtual immortal had become a great emperor. It seemed that a virtual immortal was much stronger than a great emperor. Could it be that he was really a heavenly king? But were there really heavenly kings in the world? Were heavenly kings immortal? Lin Xian did not know any of this, but he was ready to make a move. As the Tin Crown King, Lin Xian was ready to take some interest from the virtual immortal's grandson. On the other side, Great Emperor Baiyu also said, "Young Master Yi, are you going to make a move?" "Great. However, you have to be careful. This kid is the successor of the Great Dragon, the successor of the 9 sons. Moreover, he has the power of reincarnation. More importantly, he is the Tin Crown King." Hearing this, Lei Ye's eyes flashed with a cold light. Does he have so many trump cards? No wonder he dares to compete with us. However, don't worry, I can deal with the Tin Crown King. My grandfather loves to torture the Tin Crown King. This time, I'll capture him and present him to my grandfather. I think my grandfather will be very happy. As he spoke, Lei Yi walked forward. He looked at Lin Xian and said in a deep voice, "I'll give you a chance. Kneel down obediently. Admit defeat." Chapter 59-78. Admit defeat? Apologize? I'll never be able to learn that in my lifetime. Lin Xian shook his head. Then he changed the topic. But I wonder what your grandfather's expression will be if you die. You dared to suppress Tin Crown King of the dragon race. Today, I'll show you how powerful Tin Crown King is. Lin Xian walked out with a powerful aura emanating from him. His 9 young divine body swept out in all directions. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into the god of the sun, making the surrounding supremes exclaim. Tin Crown King lived up to his name. However, could he really beat Lei Yi? He was the grandson of a mortal. He was taught by a mortal himself. How powerful must his immortal techniques be? Even the Thunderclap Emperor and the others were no match for him. Let's see if you're as arrogant as the legends say. Thunder God Finger. Lei Yi pointed his finger. The terrifying finger carried endless starlight that pierced through heaven and earth. This power seemed to be even more terrifying than the Thunderclap Emperor's lightning. 9 young divine palm. One palm shook the sky. Lin Xian's palm pressed down like a heavenly monument, blocking the Thunder God Finger. It couldn't move forward. Lin Xian said coldly, "It's useless. Even if you're a mortal's grandson, you can't do anything to me." Slash. Lin Xian roared and spat out a ray of sword energy, cutting off the Thunder God Finger. The terrifying lightning was split in half. Lei Yi retracted his palm. There was a sword mark on his finger. His face darkened instantly. That was interesting. He stopped the bleeding, and then his eyes shone with cold light. In the past, someone accidentally hurt me. Guess what I did to him? I captured him and tortured him for 10,000 years. Every day, he lived a life worse than death. If you dare to hurt me today, I'll torture you for 100,000 years and let you live in despair forever. A cold voice was heard, and the surrounding great emperors felt their scalps go numb. It was too terrifying. This person's murderous intent was too terrifying. Whoever offended him would die without a doubt. Lightning fist. Lei Yi roared. His fist technique was astonishing. Thousands of fists with destructive power rushed towards Lin Xian. It completely enveloped Lin Xian's location. That place had completely turned into a black hole. Boom. Lin Xian snorted coldly as a huge flaming figure emerged from the lightning. Then, it opened its palms and tore the void apart. Lin Xian, in his god of 9 suns state, walked out like a supreme god of fire, walking on the earth. Every step he took caused the sky to crumble and the earth to crack. It was as if the divine fire could burn the 9 heavens. One had to admit that Lei Yi was indeed very strong. He was even more terrifying than a great emperor. But so what? Lin Xian would also let the other party know what it meant to be truly invincible. After tearing apart his opponent's lightning fist, Lin Xian attacked again, the 9 suns' divine fist descending. 1,000 suns fell from the sky, and the rumbling sound spread out in all directions. Their fists collided in the air like a clash between lightning and fire. The martial monarchs and 9 heavens supremes immediately backed away. Their brows were tightly knitted together. Initially, they thought that young Master Lei Yi would crush the other party, but now they were evenly matched. This was truly shocking. Emperor Baiyu frowned. This lad is so strong. However, Shocking Thunder Emperor said, he can't believe in young Master Lei Yi. He hasn't even used his true immortal skill yet. Shocking Thunder Emperor was also an expert of the Tao of Thunder. When he was at the Permitha realm, he had sparred with young Master Lei Yi more than once. Naturally, he knew that young Master Lei Yi had many terrifying immortal skills. Once he used them, Lin Wudi wouldn't be able to defend against them. The battle ahead was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, 300 moves had passed. In just the blink of an eye, everyone was shocked. If it were any other 9 heaven supremes or great emperors, they would have been defeated long ago. The two of them were really terrifying. The ancient crocodile was also anxious. The situation didn't seem good. If this continued, they wouldn't have any hope of winning. Once the other party attacked them, they would be finished. He looked at the Saintess of the 6 Paths and said, "Don't you have any other ideas?" The Saintess said, "Believe in the Master of Reincarnation. Since he came with the token, I believe that he is invincible. Please, don't be naive, okay?" Shanghai Crocodile's face turned black. "Believe? You are just a remnant soul. It doesn't matter if you die. But they can't. If Lin Xian were to be defeated, all of them would probably be sent to hell." Hence, Shanghai Crocodile was extremely anxious. But there was nothing he could do. At the same time, outside the Reincarnation Mountain, another figure had arrived. It was also a tall and sturdy man. He was Lin Zhan. At this moment, he was walking with majestic steps. He wanted to land, but he was stunned. With a wave of his hand, endless laws gathered and formed a mirror that shone below. Xian'er was fighting. His opponent seemed to be someone from the Permitha realm. All right, I'll let them fight first. I'll see what Xian'er is at now. Lin Zhan didn't move immediately. Instead, he watched the battle from outside. There was another shocking battle in the 6th Dao Gate. Then, the two figures retreated and faced each other. Lin Xian scoffed. "You are only SOSO. Did your grandfather give you this much? You're such a piece of trash, grandson. You have a sharp tongue. Next, you will see a true celestial technique. Celestial technique, Thunderclap 8 Desolation." Boom. The moment he said that, everyone saw a flash of light. Then, an earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian was actually sent flying. "What fast speed!" the immortal emperor exclaimed. Supreme Being Wu Hui also asked, "What happened just now? Why did his speed increase so much?" The Thunderclap Emperor laughed. "Haha, young Master Lei Yi is finally serious." Thunderclap 8 Desolation was a top-tier movement technique. Even emperors might not be able to see it. Let's see how this kid will die. Lei Yi displayed his super speed and sent Lin Xian flying. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian retreated, his blood and qi churning. His brows were tightly knitted together. In the next instant, he felt like he was struck by lightning again. There were actually millions of strikes on his body. It caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. He flew out and crashed into a pile of ruins. Lei Yi appeared and scoffed. "Did you see that? Kid, this is my true strength. When I get serious, you can't even keep up with my speed. What do you have to fight me with? 10 Crown King, that's all. If you don't become an emperor, you will always be trash." At this moment, Lei Yi was high and mighty. Countless people looked up to him. His speed was too fast. As expected of the grandson of a celestial, he was unimaginably strong. Not good. How did that kid get hurt? The ancient crocodile's face changed. He had never seen Lin Xian suffer a loss. He looked at the Holy Lady of the Six Paths. "Why aren't you guys attacking?" The Holy Lady of the Six Paths ignored the ancient crocodile. They only listened to the Master of Reincarnation. At this moment, if Lin Xian didn't ask them to stop, they wouldn't attack. Lin Xian walked out of the ruins and spat out a mouthful of blood. He smiled. "Interesting. Is this your true strength? You didn't disappoint me. Now, I can show you my true strength." Chapter 59-79. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the surrounding people went crazy. What did he mean? Could it be that this kid didn't show his true strength before? What kind of joke was this? Pretending to be mysterious? "I don't believe that you're my opponent." Lei Yi snorted and punched again. His speed was so fast that no one was able to keep up with him. In their opinion, Lin Xian couldn't keep up with this speed at all. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a taiji diagram flew out and surrounded him. In the face of such a terrifying speed, he didn't dodge at all. Was this kid scared out of his wits? He couldn't keep up with this speed at all. Great Emperor Baiyu and the thunderclap Great Emperor sneered. Lei Yi appeared behind Lin Xian once again and threw out a punch. "Go to hell." A cold voice sounded. The ancient crocodile and the others changed their expressions drastically. Not good. Zhong Lingxiu and the others were also anxious. Lin Xian was really at a disadvantage now. In the face of such an attack, Lin Xian sneered and let the punch hit him. In everyone's opinion, even if Lin Xian had the 9-yang divine body, he couldn't block this punch. But at this time, the taiji diagram on his body changed. Buzz. The taiji diagram rotated and condensed. A soft force directly bounced the punch away. A figure was sent flying backward. Lei Yi was also shocked. His qi and blood were tumbling. He was dumbfounded. What was going on? That punch just now seemed to have hit cotton. It didn't cause any damage to the other party at all. Instead, he was sent flying by a rebounding force. Damn it, I don't believe it. He attacked again. In the blink of an eye, he punched 100 million times. Boom. This attack covered Lin Xian's whole body, especially the vital parts. Once hit, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. However, these attacks were all bounced back by the taiji diagram. What was going on? The thunderclap Great Emperor roared. Great Emperor Baiyu also went crazy. This was impossible. The other supremes also exclaimed. Was that the yin-yang diagram? How could it be so magical? It actually possessed the power of yin and yang. Lin Xian, who was wearing the taiji cloak, threw his head back and laughed. Extreme speed? So what? You can't hurt me. No matter how fast you are, it's useless. Damn it. What kind of move is this? Lei Yi roared. Lin Xian sneered. Tai Chi, 4 tails to 1,000 caddies. The more you attack me, the more you will be repelled. So, even if you have extreme speed, you can't do anything to me. Taiji is truly miraculous. It is actually able to block my extreme speed. However, do you think that speed is all I have? My power of destruction is also not something that you can understand. Lightning continued to erupt from his body. His black hair danced in the wind. His combat strength was astonishing. At the same time, a blade of lightning appeared in his hand. With a slash, it shattered the world. Immortal technique, Heavenly Thunder Slash. A peerless immortal art flew out, shocking everyone. The great emperors also exclaimed, as expected of the grandson of a virtual immortal. This immortal technique is too terrifying. Can Lin Wuti block it? In the face of such a terrifying blade technique, Lin Xian snorted and took out the immortal slaying sword. Heaven-defying sword technique. Immortal slaying sword. With a roar, sword chi erupted between heaven and earth. With an unparalleled power, it slashed out. An earth-shattering battle occurred between the two. The void kept shattering. The blade was actually broken. That's impossible. The surrounding great emperors were all stunned. Great Emperor Baiyu and Thunderclap, Great Emperor exclaimed, "What a terrifying sword technique! What kind of weapon is that?" Young Master Lei Yu was also shocked. He kept retreating. He was dumbfounded. Lin Xian sneered, "You can't do it. I said that when I get serious, you won't be my opponent at all. Now you know the difference between us." Hearing this, Lei Ye's face was extremely cold. "Good kid, you are indeed capable. But take another attack from me." Immortal Art, Ninefold Thunder Blade. The saber light in Lei Ye's hand continued to rise and fall like a clap of thunder. This time, it wasn't just one blade light. It was 9 blades of blade light. Moreover, with each additional blade light, the power would increase. In the end, it would be 9 times stronger. This was a peerless immortal art. Its power was shocking. When the other great emperors saw this, their scalps went numb. They were afraid that they would have to avoid it. If they took it head-on, they would most likely die. Thunderclap, Great Emperor sneered, "Let's see how this kid is going to block it this time." The surrounding great emperors shook their heads and sighed. "No matter how strong your comprehension is, you won't be able to block such a blade technique." It seemed like he was going to dodge it. Dodge? Lin Xian sneered in disdain. Did he need to dodge? He was like a dragon, and his sword was like the wind. With one sword in hand, 10,000 swords returned to their origin. Facing his opponent's powerful ninefold thunderblade, Lin Xian waved his hand. Sword chi surged out from his body. The sword light that filled the sky was vast and mighty, sweeping in all directions. It was unbelievably powerful. At this moment, the dazzling sword light lit up heaven and earth. The surrounding great emperors all closed their eyes. They didn't dare to look at it. Boom! The ninefold thunderblade was hit by a strong impact. The heaven and earth were destroyed. The surrounding great emperors and great emperors all retreated. Even Lei Ye's face changed. He kept retreating. The void under his feet turned into a black hole. He retreated far away. There were a few more sword marks on his body. His face became extremely ugly. Was his peerless blade technique defeated by the opponent's sword chi? No. He roared to the sky, "I want you to die. No one is better than me." It was a beautiful wish. "Do you have the ability to kill me?" Lin Xian stood with his sword and sneered. "Kid, I admit that you're very strong. However, this time, I've brought along an absolute trump card with me. I didn't plan to use this trump card, but you are so unlucky. Well, I'll let you die under this move. To be able to die under the heavenly punishment sword. You should be proud." What? Heavenly punishment sword? The surrounding great emperors and great emperors were shocked. The heavenly punishment sword was one of the 5 swords in the world. It was said to be in charge of heavenly punishment. It had the world's heavenly Tao. More importantly, the heavenly punishment sword was said to be complete and was at the Permitha realm. The others, like the great dragon sword and the reincarnation sword, were all broken. If the heavenly punishment sword really came, who would be able to defeat it? Great Emperor Baiyu and the thunderclap Great Emperor's faces were ugly. However, when they heard those words, they also burst into laughter. He actually brought the power of the heavenly punishment sword? Great. This time, we will definitely win. Let's see who dares to challenge us. They desperately needed a victory. Because before this, Baiyan was high and mighty and was the unparalleled overlord of the world. But this era was an era of immortal ascension. Countless strong people had awakened from their ancient slumber. There were even strong people from 1,000,000 years ago who had awakened. There were also ancient sects like the Six Paths sect. They had begun to challenge their position at the Permitha realm. So, they urgently needed a transcendent power to suppress everything. Lin Wuti was famous throughout the universe. His opponent was the Tin Crown King, and his talent was unparalleled. His future achievements were limitless. It was most appropriate to use him as an example. Who would dare to be arrogant after killing Linwoody? Chapter 5980. Stupid thing. I will let you die in despair. Lei Yi waved the power of the heavenly punishment sword, and the human-shaped lightning bolts in the sky rushed down. This sword was too terrifying, and death was certain. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. He also felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. He knew that he had to use his ultimate move, and he couldn't hold back anymore. Otherwise, his life would be in danger. He held the great dragon sword tightly, and dragon scales grew out of his body, transforming into a dragon. With a furious roar, he quickly charged over with his flying immortal sword. It's useless. No matter what you use, you are no match for heavenly punishment. Lei Ye's lips curled into a smile. He could already see victory. The human heart's lightning bolts rushed down with thousands of lightning bolts. Lin Xian, on the other hand, turned into a dragon shadow and soared into the sky. In the next moment, the two collided. Lin Xian roared crazily. I'll show you my invincible strength. Roar. The roar of a dragon resounded in the sky, and thousands of swords chimed, as if they were going to pierce through the clouds. The two collided with a destructive force. The human-shaped lightning bolts collided with the ferocious dragon. Endless radiance shrouded everything. No one could see it anymore, and only Lin Xian's roar could be heard. This voice caused the souls of the emperors to tremble. So strong, so terrifying. No one knew who would win. If it were other emperors, no one would be optimistic. However, the opponent was Lin Xian. Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul, and it was an invincible power. One represented the heavens, and the other was invincible. Who was stronger? Even the Baiyu Great Emperor and the Thunderclap Great Emperor were extremely nervous. Their palms were sweating. They must win, and they mustn't lose. Boom boom. There was a shocking collision, and the sky seemed to have been torn apart. Everyone saw an unbelievable scene. The human-shaped lightning bolts and the terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow collided. They were evenly matched. Everyone was shocked, but it made sense. Two of the 5 swords of the world. There should be no difference in strength. Damn it, how could it be like this? When Lei Yi saw this, he found it hard to accept. You, on what basis are you on par with me? He had gone crazy. Who was he? He was the peerless genius of the Nirvana realm, the grandson of a deity, a supreme existence that stood high above the masses. He was wielding the power of the complete heavenly punishment sword. How could the other party compare to him? But now, he only managed to fight to a draw. He couldn't accept it. Humph, of course it can't be a draw. How are you going to match me? Lin Xian couldn't accept it either. He had fought his way through the 8 desolations. He had experienced countless pursuits, despair, and life and death situations. How could a pampered person like the other party compare to him? He absolutely refused to accept this. With a furious roar, the power of the great dragon sword soul rose once again. The divine blood in Lin Xian's body began to boil. Chop, chop, chop. He roared crazily. He grabbed the immortal slaying sword and slashed down again. The power of the great dragon sword combined with the killing intent of the immortal slaying sword. The power increased once again, sending the humanoid thunderbolt flying. A huge crack appeared on the humanoid thunderbolt's body. It was almost split into 2. Puff. Lei Yi retreated and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The other people were shocked. He was injured. Lei Yi was injured. Was the heavenly punishment sword defeated? It was unbelievable. An emperor said. The power of the 5 swords in the world was unfathomable. No one was stronger than the other, but there was a difference in the strength of the user. The current situation showed that Lin Wudi was still stronger. This young man was too incredible. He rose from the dust and was even more outstanding than the grandson of a deity. How could this be? On the other side, Thunderclap Emperor and Emperor Baiyu were shocked too. They couldn't believe it. Was this Lin Wudi? Invincible. Lin Xian snorted. He stood in the void and looked down at the injured Lei Yi. You're just so unable to withstand a single blow. Ah! Lei Yi roared crazily. Was the other party mocking him? Unforgivable. Who said that I was defeated? I still have strength. I can still fight. He stood up and gathered the power of the heavenly punishment sword again. If you want to continue fighting, I'll beat you until you collapse. Lin Xian's sword was like a dragon. Streaks of sword qi slashed down crazily. Lei Yi used the power of the heavenly punishment sword to block it. He wanted to turn the situation around. He wanted to go against the heavens. But at this moment, Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Do you want to see the power of the reincarnation sword? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Emperor Baiyu and Thunderclap Emperor's faces changed. Not good. Lei Yi retreated quickly. Lei Yi was shocked too. The power of the reincarnation sword was also one of the 5 swords in the world. Could it be that the other party could use it too? No, I don't believe it. Even if his identity was extraordinary, he could only use some of the power of the heavenly punishment sword. The other party was worse than an ant. How could he use 2 of the 5 swords in the world? The other party must be deliberately mystifying and deceiving him. Do you think I'm scared? Lei Yi sneered and didn't retreat. Instead, he attacked even more crazily. He quickly approached Lin Xian, trying to dodge the attack of the great dragon sword with his super speed. Then, he would use the power of the heavenly punishment to tear the other party apart. Stupid thing. I'll let you see the power of the reincarnation sword. Lin Xian looked down and saw Lei Ye's reflection in his eyes. In the next moment, the light of the reincarnation sword condensed in his eyes. Heaven and earth split open and a long sword phantom appeared. The long sword seemed to rise from the 6 paths of reincarnation, slashing down and taking away everything. The sword light hit Lei Yi. Lei Ye's soul was split open. He fell from the sky and blood dyed the 9 heavens red. Boom! Lei Ye's figure fell heavily on the ground, causing endless cracks to appear on the ground. Everyone's heart beat violently. They were dumbfounded as they looked at the scene. The power of the reincarnation sword really came out. Lin Wudi defeated Lei Yi with the power of the great dragon sword and the reincarnation sword. He really did it. Zhong Lingxia was shocked. On the other side, the Saintess of 6 Paths was even more excited. Although she was just an illusory soul, she appeared on one knee again. The reincarnation sword. He was the new master of reincarnation. Next to the stone of 3 lives, the fragment of the reincarnation sword shook violently. It seemed to want to merge with the commonly seen phantom in the sky. Lin Xian stood in the 9 heavens, looking down with a solemn expression. He said, "You're no match for me. Not in the past, not in the future. I'll trample you under my feet forever. Die in despair." He swung his sword a few more times. When the Thunderclap Emperor saw this, he quickly moved and took Lei Yi away. At the same time, he said, "Kid, you're dead. Our other world won't let you go." Lin Xian sneered and ignored him. He turned and stared at the fragment of the reincarnation sword beside the stone of 3 lives. He said in a low voice, "Next, it's time to subdue you." This was the most important thing he needed to do. Chapter 5981. Lin Xian's strength shocked everyone. The people around him were terrified. He was too strong. However, there were also some who had other thoughts. For example, the immortal emperor's eyes shone with a trace of killing intent. In his opinion, although Yi Fuyan was strong, he was already at the end of his rope. After fighting with Lei Yi, Yi Fuyan did not have much strength left. Now was the best time to kill Yi Fuyan. With a flicker of his body, he moved with incredible speed and appeared behind Lin Xian in the blink of an eye. "Little brat, go to hell." He waved the black steel in his hand, wanting to smash Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian was hit. His body shook, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "That's great." The immortal emperor sneered. "This time, I'll kill you." His fist came again, aiming for Lin Xian's head. At this moment, Lin Xian turned around, his eyes shining with a cold light. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." 6 paths of reincarnation, hell path, summon. This time, Lin Xian summoned the flames in the Sun Valley in the Sword World. The void tore apart as a gigantic palm slammed down on Lin Fan. It's useless. Kid, you don't have much strength left. You're no match for me. The immortal emperor sneered. He wanted to tear Lin Xian's body to pieces. However, at that moment, when he saw the flaming palm flying toward him, he was shocked. The flame aura on it was too terrifying. What kind of palm was that? He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. There was a loud boom. This palm strike landed directly on his body. The sky shook and the clouds changed. It was a fatal blow. The immortal emperor was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body broke into pieces, turning into countless cracks and falling to the ground. The surrounding people jumped in fright. The immortal emperor's sudden attack had already shocked them. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian still had a trump card. He smashed the immortal emperor to pieces with a single palm. The immortal emperor was severely injured. Although he possessed the power of immortality and indestructibility, he was still injured. He tumbled madly between heaven and earth. At the same time, he retreated in horror. The other people's faces also changed drastically. How terrifying! Lin Wudi was too strong. But Thunder Dottie said, "Don't retreat. Everyone, listen to my command. Let's kill him together." He really didn't have much strength left. That's right. Emperor Baiyu walked out as well. We have the power of heavenly punishment on our side. Let's use it together. On the other side, Lei Yi swallowed the pill and stood up again. Although he was severely injured, he still wanted to fight with his life on the line. The reason for that was because he absolutely would not allow the other party to continue living. The three great emperors of the Nirvana realm controlled the power of the heavenly punishment together. The eyes of the other rogue martial monarchs flickered when they saw the collision. Indeed, Lin Wudi was too strong. He was so strong that it frightened them. On the other side, Supreme Master Huang Lin walked out and said, "People of Supreme Palace, let's move out as well. Although we have our own interests, this time, we must stand together against a common enemy." Those supreme beings were actually gathered together. This scene made the ancient crocodile, Zhong Lingxiu, and the others completely change their expressions. Oh no, these people are going to join forces after all. Chun Yixian sighed. Showing off. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. Whoever dares to disrespect the Lord of Samsara will have to ask for my permission first. The soul of the Saintess of the Six Paths walked out and shouted coldly. On the other side, the black eye also floated between heaven and earth. It's useless. The Thunderclap Emperor roared. The three of them, including the two controlling the heavenly punishment, were together. The power of the heavenly punishment was even more terrifying than before. It actually sent the Saintess of the Six Paths flying. The soul of the Saintess of the Six Paths dimmed even more. Lin Wudi, you will definitely die today. Faced with such a terrifying scene, Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Then let's fight. Let's fight to our heart's content." He was like the sky with a trace of madness in his eyes. He was ready to completely activate the Sword World and use the power inside to revive the heaven-devouring jar and the dragon sword soul. He didn't hold back and fought crazily. A great battle was about to break out. At the same time, outside the Reincarnation Mountain, Lin Zhan saw this scene and took a deep breath. Looks like it's my turn. Lin Xian was able to defeat Lei Yi, injure the Bumia Emperor, and defeat a group of people by himself. It was completely out of his expectation. He was very satisfied. He would leave the rest to him. Boom. Lin Zhan's body shook and he disappeared. In the ancient Six Paths Gate, a great battle was about to break out. However, at this moment, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Then, a figure walked out from the ancient times. He said coldly, "Who dares to attack my son? Who the hell is your son? Who do you think you are? Get out of here." The spiritual sovereign coldly laughed. The other people also raised their heads. Who dared to stop them at this time? Before they could see the figure clearly, a fist came at them. An iron fist fell from the sky and went straight for Huangling's spirit. Huangling's spirit was furious. "You're courting death." He also struck out with his palm. The law of desolation was enough to take away all lives. The two collided, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. Then, a scream was heard. Huangling's spirit's palm was shattered. Not only that, half of his body turned into a bloody mist. Ah! He screamed in pain. Then, another fist fell and shattered the other half of his body. Huangling's spirit turned into a sea of blood, rolling between heaven and earth. He was severely injured. He stepped back in horror. "Help me." He came to the Bu-Mie Emperor and the others, looking terrified. The Bu-Mie Emperor, Wu Hui Supreme, and the others gasped. "It's too terrifying. Is another peerless master coming?" The Baiyu Emperor and the others also roared. "Who is it?" "It's me." In the sky, a majestic figure descended. He was like a demon god, stepping on all directions. His aura was extremely terrifying. It was as deep as the sea, and everyone was terrified. The Thunderclap Emperor's pupils shrank when he saw him. "It's you." How could he not know him? He came to the Heavens Land to fight with the people of the God Realm and snatch the ancient city. He had seen this man before. He was a member of the God Realm. He didn't expect to come here. "Who is he?" Wu Hui Supreme and the others asked. The Thunderclap Emperor said, "He's a member of the God Realm." "What? A member of the God Realm?" The utmost martial emperors sucked in a breath of cold air. In the sky, the majestic figure said, "That's right. I'm a member of the God Realm. My name is Lin Zhan. Remember this name. He will be your nightmare." Lin Zhan. His surname was also Lin. What was his relationship with Lin Xian? Everyone was confused. Lin Xian was excited. His eyes turned red. "Father!" He shouted to the sky. Everyone was stunned. This man was Lin Wudi's father. No way. Since when did Lin Wudi have such a terrifying father? Didn't he awaken from the dust? Countless people were stunned. The Thunderclap Emperor and the others were also shocked. Lin Zhan lowered his head and looked at Lin Xian. He said with a smile, "Xian, your performance is very good. It's completely beyond our expectations. I didn't expect you to have grown to this level. I'm really happy. Next, you can go and subdue the reincarnation sword fragment. Leave these people to me." Chapter 5982. How arrogant. Do they really think we don't exist? The Thunderclap Emperor and the others roared. "We brought the power of divine punishment with us this time." The other supreme beings also looked gloomy and cold. They didn't take them seriously at all. Lin Xian also said, "Father, they have the advantage in numbers. They're very powerful. I want to fight side by side with you." "All right." Lin Zhan didn't refuse. He said, "Then let's work together and let the world see the power of our Lin family." Hearing this, Lin Xian flew up and came to Lin Zhan's side. He was really excited. Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, and the others had said that they wanted him to grow up quickly so that they could fight side by side one day. Now, the day had finally come. Lin Xian could finally fight with them and fight against the enemy together. "You don't know what's good for you. Today, I'll let you and your father die together." The Thunderclap Emperor, Lei Yi, and the others roared. They controlled the power of divine punishment and rushed over. At the same time, the other emperors and supreme beings around them quickly attacked. The power of these people was really terrifying. They were extremely powerful. Nothing could stop them. The ancient crocodile ran away quickly. Zhong Lingxiu and Chun Yixian also retreated far away. With such a lineup, it was useless even if they helped. The only thing they prayed for was that Lin Xian would leave quickly. Only by running away could he survive. However, Lin Xian wouldn't run away. Lin Zhan didn't run away either. He stepped out and said, "Xian, watch carefully. They can't even withstand a single blow." Then, Lin Zhan clenched his fist. There seemed to be steel on his fist. Then, he punched down fiercely. Heaven and earth were shattered. The entire void was pierced through. The few supreme beings nearby were instantly sent flying. Blood dyed the sky red. Everyone went crazy. This Lin Zhan was too terrifying. He sent several supreme beings flying by himself. Just what level had his battle prowess reached? Lin Xian was also excited after seeing this. Father is really powerful. He also roared to the sky and activated the power of Sword World. Come out. The power of the Sword World flew out. The heaven-swallowing pot turned into countless vortexes, swallowing the heavens and the earth. At the same time, the great dragon sword had obtained enough power to fuse with the immortal slaying sword. One sword slaying immortals. One of Emperor Baiyu's arms was severed, and the immortal chi on his body was almost severed. Damn it, that sword is so terrifying. Father, I'll give you the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Xian shouted. But Lin Zhan said, no, my fists are enough to destroy everything. Lin Zhan didn't use any weapons at all. However, his fists were really too terrifying. It was indestructible. After throwing out a punch, he directly punched through the Supreme Being. A great emperor was hit by his fist and spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Zhan was extremely domineering. He waved his hands and tore the entire world into two. The two Supreme Beings were split in half from the middle by him. Blood-curdling screams rang out. Everyone was terrified. On the other side, Lin Xian controlled the great dragon sword soul to collide with the power of heavenly punishment once again. The two exploded. Useless kid. You can't resist it at all. Last time, it was his own power. This time, he added the power of two great emperors. The other party definitely couldn't resist it. The other party would be torn into pieces in an instant. Rumbling sounds rang out. The two were evenly matched. Lei Ye's eyes almost popped out. How can you resist it? The Thunderclap Emperor's expression changed drastically. Who is it? Who is secretly helping him? Impossible. How can the other party have so much power? He didn't know that Lin Xian had a sword world. It was extremely mysterious and contained countless power. Even if the three of them joined forces, so what? Lin Xian had enough strength to protect himself. He could completely restrain the other party. Boom. At this moment, Lin Xian opened the evil spirit path again and summoned that flame-like palm. He slapped the Thunderclap Emperor. Half of the Thunderclap Emperor's body was smashed. He screamed in pain. The power of heavenly punishment also weakened. It was sent flying by Lin Xian's sword. They spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were filled with horror. How can this be? They had so many great emperors and supremes, but they couldn't do anything to the two of them. The Lin father and son were too strong. The ancient crocodile was terrified. It prostrated on the ground. Zhong Lingxiu's eyes flickered as she looked up. So strong. Chen Yixin stared at Lin Zhan. This man felt strange and familiar at the same time. Lin Zhan, I've never heard of him before. Why is this name so powerful? Look at his iron fists. Why do they look so similar to the Battle Emperor? Kill for me. Give me power. Lei Yi roared crazily. The Thunderclap Emperor also roared. Kill them together. Bian will reward you handsomely. I'll give you the resources to become immortals. As for the other great emperors, their eyes also turned red after hearing this. Didn't they live until now to become immortals? These people didn't hold back anymore. They took out all kinds of weapons. In an instant, Lin Xian felt great pressure. On the other side, Lin Zhan said, Xian, there's no time to lose. Quickly collect the reincarnation sword fragment. I'll hold them off for a while. Father, there are so many of them. Can you hold them off? Lin Zhan's lips curled up. Today, I'll show you my true strength. An intense light erupted from his eyes. In the next moment, an earth-shattering power erupted from his body. Lin Xian's body trembled. He's so strong. Father, who exactly is he? This power made him feel terrified. DeLong, who was beside Lin Xian, also said, the Battle Emperor has reappeared in the human world. Don't worry. He's very strong. Quickly collect the reincarnation sword fragment. This way, we can leave quickly. Reduce the danger to the minimum. Lin Xian nodded after hearing this. Since DeLong said so, Lin Xian didn't hesitate anymore. He said, Father, be careful. He took out the heaven-devouring jar and surrounded the fragment, creating countless black holes to defend. At the same time, he threw the immortal slaying sword to Lin Zhan. He said, Father, use this. Lin Zhan nodded. All right. He took the immortal slaying sword and split heaven and earth with one strike. The immortal supremacy was split in half again. Even Supreme Huangling's arms were shattered by the impact. How is it possible for one person to fight against us? Supreme Wu Hui roared. He threw out a terrifying cauldron and soul illusion. He wanted to make sure that no one could return. Great Emperor Bai Yu's feathers filled the sky. Great Emperor Bai Yu's terrifying killing thunder. Everyone was attacking crazily. The overwhelming immortal energy and divine fire all enveloped Lin Zhan. Lin Zhan punched in all directions and slashed everything with his sword. He roared at the sky, "I want to fight immortals." A loud and clear voice rang out. His strength had actually blocked the attacks coming from all directions. Not only that, he swept the surroundings. Those great emperors and supremes were all forced back. What was going on? He was actually so strong. Some people were terrified, and their scalps went numb. As for Great Emperor Bai Yu, he roared, "Battle Emperor. You are the Battle Emperor from back then. You are still alive." Impossible. Supreme Huangling also exclaimed. What? He was the Battle Emperor. Impossible? He had already died back then. How could he still be alive? At this moment, many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Even if he was injured, he still came to fight. His blood was boiling. It was enough to heal his injuries. At the same time, he roared in anger, "My battle blood will dye the world red." The blood that fell exploded with the brightest light. It formed a bloody fist and blasted towards the Thunderclap Emperor. The Thunderclap Emperor was sent flying. The Thunderclap Emperor let out a miserable roar. He retreated quickly. However, Lin Zhan had already locked onto him. He couldn't escape. This battle would determine the winner and the loser. He punched out with his fists. He raised his combat strength to the extreme and kept punching. Thousands of punches were thrown. At this moment, everyone was horrified. No one dared to save the Thunderclap Emperor. The Thunderclap Emperor was smashed into smithereens by such a punch. His soul was severely injured as well. He ran away crazily. The immortal chi on his body was burning. He turned into a stream of light and turned to escape. Lin Zhan sneered. "Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Back then, when I was a battle arch, I was killed by an immortal. Now that I've been reborn, I created a fist technique called the Battle Immortal Divine Fist. Now, feel it." He threw out a punch. This punch was much more powerful than the one before. This was a divine ability specially created to fight against immortals. "No, you can't kill me. I'm on Bai An's side. If you kill me, Bai An won't let you off. The virtual immortal won't let you off. He's a real immortal." The Thunderclap Emperor roared crazily. However, such threats were useless. He was hit by the Battle Immortal Divine Fist. Then, he let out a cry of despair. He was dead. Had the arch fallen? Between heaven and earth, blood rain fell. Everything was sad. At this moment, the surrounding Supremes and Thearchs all went crazy. They really didn't expect that the other party would have the strength to kill them. One had to know that it was possible for the arch to be defeated. However, it was extremely difficult for the arch to die. Back then, the few Thearchs that Lin Xian killed weren't complete Thearchs. Even so, Lin Xian had to use all of his trump cards in order to kill Zhang Xian. He had to use several supreme weapons in order to do so. Now, Lin Zhan killed the arch with a single punch. Such strength was heaven-defying. Chapter 59-84. Who dares to fight with me? Lin Zhan said coldly in the sky. His gaze shifted to the remaining 12 great emperors. They were all great emperors. These people were so scared that their hair stood on end. Lei Ye's body trembled. A great emperor had just died in front of him? This person actually possessed such strength. Damn it. He felt that his life was in danger. For a moment, the world was terrifyingly quiet. Zhong Linxiu exclaimed, "He's so powerful. He's far stronger than ordinary great emperors." Chen Yixin said, "Of course. Even though he had reincarnated, back when he was the Battle Emperor, he was known to be invincible and had fought all over the world. He dared to challenge an immortal. How could he be an ordinary great emperor? Now that he was reborn, he had a deeper understanding of it. He created such a peerless fist technique. His strength was probably even more terrifying than before. However, he didn't know if the current him had already reached the peak. He didn't expect Lin Wudi to have such a powerful father. Zhong Lingxiu was also surprised. She looked into the distance at Lin Xian's figure. She thought that perhaps this time, he could really successfully take it. Buzz. At this moment, there was a loud sound in front of him. The fragment of the reincarnation sword flew into Lin Xian's palm. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. That's great. He finally took it. The other 12 great emperors were also shocked. They looked in that direction with their mouths agape. Damn it. Great Emperor Baiyu gritted his teeth. Lei Yi roared and attacked again. However, it was shattered by Lin Zhan's punch. He stared at Lei Yi and said, "Do you want to die too?" He punched in all directions. Lei Yi kept vomiting blood. Great Emperor Baiyu said, "Stop. He's the grandson of a virtual immortal. Do you dare to attack him? So what if he's the grandson of a virtual immortal? I even dare to attack a virtual immortal here, let alone his grandson." Then, Lin Zhan punched again. Even Great Emperor Baiyu was sent flying. Great Emperor Baiyu was so angry that he vomited blood. He didn't dare to fight back. The other party was too strong. He seemed to have surpassed them. They weren't on the same level at all. "Xianer, how is it?" Lin Zhan turned around and asked. Lin Xian said, "Dad, I've subdued it. Are you all right?" When he turned around, he realized that one person was missing. Was the Thunderclap Emperor dead? Just now, he had put all his effort into collecting them and did not pay attention to anything else. Who would have thought that the Thunderclap Emperor would fall? Lin Zhan said, "That guy doesn't know what's good for him. He even dared to challenge me one-on-one. I killed him with one punch. Let's go." He took Lin Xian into the air and flew into the distance. Soon, they left the Six Paths Gate and arrived outside the Reincarnation Mountain. He continued to fly out until he reached the high heavens. When Lin Xian just came out, the fragment of the Samsara sword suddenly burst out with an extremely bright light. It formed the phantoms of 6 worlds. It carried with it a terrifying power of samsara, as if it could open up the samsara of life and death. This kind of heaven and earth phenomenon circled above the 9 heavens, and it was impossible to hide. What's going on? Lin Xian was shocked. Lin Zhan also said, "This is the fragment of the reincarnation sword. It has reappeared between heaven and earth. Naturally, it has to announce its appearance. But if I do so, won't I be telling everyone that I have the fragment of the reincarnation sword?" Lin Xian frowned. Lin Zhan said, "So what? A man should not be afraid of anything, even if they know. So what? Moreover, we can use this matter to set up a trap. It's time to get rid of some people from the Supreme Hall and the Paramitha." Lin Zhan's eyes shone with a cold light. During this period of time, the Paramitha had been fighting with them in the high heavens, which made them very angry. Therefore, they had to fight back fiercely. The fall of the Thunderclap Emperor was just the beginning. The heaven and earth phenomenon in the Six Paths world was seen by everyone in the high heavens. Not only that, but the people in the celestial land also saw it. Even the people in the universe also saw it. They saw that the 6 worlds seemed to be surrounding a long sword. That was the power of samsara. That was the reincarnation sword. Heavens, has the reincarnation sword appeared? One of the 5 swords of the world, the reincarnation sword, had finally appeared. Countless exclamations could be heard. At this moment, everyone went crazy. Even the super experts in the great emperor families and the depths of the celestial land were shocked. The eyes of some rogue great emperors and people from the Supreme Hall also turned red. The reincarnation sword has appeared. Let's go. We must get it. The reincarnation sword contains supreme secrets. It has the power of samsara. If we get it, we might be able to live forever. Let's go. Many experts went over. In the mysterious moon palace, Guanghan deity also looked up. She said, "Has it finally appeared?" On the other side, In the high heavens, the Empress, Xia Juyo, Lord Alcohol, and the others were also happy. The reincarnation sword has appeared. I wonder if Lin Xian has it. And somewhere in the universe, a figure as black as ink also grinned after seeing this. Has the reincarnation sword appeared? I'll go take a look. He turned into boundless demonic chi, tore open the void, and disappeared. On the Primitha, in the Eternal Land, these people also saw the phantom of the reincarnation sword. Has the reincarnation sword appeared again? It was truly inconceivable. The great emperors discussed. The virtual immortal also opened his eyes. He calculated with his fingers and frowned. At the same time, a long sword flew out from his embroidered robe. The long sword was extremely terrifying. The words Dragon Slayer were engraved on it. Have you sensed 10 Crown King's aura again? Is a potential enemy a threat to you? Then go and kill him. This sword of yours specializes in killing hidden dragons. Go. The virtual immortal flicked the sword hilt. Instantly, the Dragon Slayer's sword turned into a stream of light, flew into the sky, and disappeared. On the other side, outside the reincarnation mountain, Lin Zhan said to Lin Xian, "Let's go back first. We'll come back when we're not in a hurry." Lin Xian nodded. He took a deep breath and followed Lin Zhan into the sky. However, at this moment, the void split open. A long sword pierced towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's hair stood on end. Lin Xian took out a fragment of the reincarnation sword and blocked it. With a clang, he was forced back and spat out a mouthful of blood. So terrifying. What kind of sword is this? At this moment, the long sword turned around and slashed down again. Seeing this, Lin Zhan roared. He grabbed the immortal slaying sword and slashed down. The two swords clashed. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The scene here attracted the attention of the people below. Great Emperor Baiyu, Lei Yi, Great Emperor Bu Mie, and the others flew out again. When they appeared and saw this scene, they were also stunned. Lei Yi exclaimed, "Dragon Slayer sword. Great. It's my turn. You're dead." Dragon Slayer sword. Lin Xian's eyes shone with the light of reincarnation. He stared at the other party. He recognized it. 100,000 years ago, this sword had slain the 10 Crown King of the dragon race. He didn't expect that this time, it was going to attack him again. Chen Yixian, Zhong Lingxiu, and the ancient crocodile also flew out. Seeing this scene, they also exclaimed. Chen Yixian said, "Dragon Slayer sword?" This sword was made by the virtual immortal. It was specially made to kill 10 Crown King. 10 Crown King had an earth-shattering mysterious power called the Hidden Dragon, and this sword was specially made to kill the Hidden Dragon. After hearing this, Lin Zhan snorted coldly. "What Dragon Slayer sword? Get lost." After saying that, he punched out. Chapter 5985. Lin Zhan attacked forcefully. His fists charged towards the dragon-slaying sword. When they hit the dragon-slaying sword, a shocking sound was heard. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. When the Supremes and Great Emperors who rushed over saw this scene, they were all shocked. It was too powerful. This was the treasure sword of an essence immortal. Could the other party really fight against an immortal? Suddenly, Lin Zhan stretched out a pair of big hands. The divine flames on them jumped and directly grabbed the dragon-slaying sword. The dragon-slaying sword kept shaking. It wanted to break free, but it didn't succeed at all. Was it suppressed? They all exclaimed. Even Lin Xian's eyes lit up. But at this moment, an extremely terrifying aura came from the dragon-slaying sword. It turned into a sword light and slashed towards Lin Zhan. It left a wound on Lin Zhan's arm. Even his bones could be seen. "Oh no, father, you're injured," Lin Xian exclaimed. Lin Zhan waved his hand. He threw out a ball of divine flames and formed a seal. He directly slapped it on the dragon-slaying sword. The dragon-slaying sword fell from the sky like a meteor and sank into the ground. It disappeared. "No matter who you are, don't even think about hurting my son. And you, how dare you attack my son? I'll let you know that you regret it." He turned his head and stared at Lei Yi. He waved his other fist. How dare you? Great Emperor Baiyu roared. Lei was also scared out of his wits. This person was too powerful. However, he still couldn't escape. His legs were directly beaten into a bloody mist. He screamed in pain in the air. Did you see that? This was the price. Lin Zhan's gaze looked at the sky. It was as if he had passed through time and space. He said coldly, if you dare to attack again, don't blame me for killing your grandson. Let's go. Lin Zhan carried Lin Xian. The two of them soared into the sky and disappeared into the void. Throughout the entire process, no one dared to stop them. Those Supremes felt their scalps go numb. Even the dragon-slaying sword was sent flying. Who would dare to stop them? This person was too terrifying. Young Master Lei Yi, let's go back quickly. Great Emperor Baiyu said from the side. Lei Yi nodded. This time, he was seriously injured. Let's go back and ask my grandfather to kill them. These people returned to the other side. On the other side, the 9 Heaven Supremes and the rogue martial monarchs left one after another. Some of the people who belonged to the Paragon Hall returned. This time, the appearance of the fragments of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation sword set off a shocking storm. Although Lin Xian had obtained it now, they would not let the matter rest. It was because the 6th Tao of Reincarnation was too important, connecting life and death. If they could obtain it, they might be able to revive some of the dead. They even suspected that Lin Zhan's revival had something to do with the 6 Paths of Reincarnation. After all, Wartharch had been killed by a mortal back then. It was impossible for him to be revived so easily. In the sky, 2 figures flashed. They were Lin Xian and Lin Zhan. Lin Xian said, Dad, are you okay? He took out many treasures from the sword world and gave them to Lin Zhan. After Lin Zhan received it, he swallowed it. With a wave of his hand, divine flames danced and healed his wounds. He said, there's nothing else. Without a virtual immortal, you want to kill me with a sword? That's ridiculous. Dad, what should we do next? Lin Xian asked. After all, this was a big problem. There were probably countless martial monarchs and 9 Heaven Supremes who wanted the fragments of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation sword. Lin Zhan said, let's go back and discuss. Let's set up a trap and catch all of them in one fell swoop. This time, they would be dealt a heavy blow. They would not dare to act rashly. The news spread out. In an instant, the world was in a state of shock. The universe was in an uproar. The fragments of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation sword had finally appeared. Moreover, Lin Wuti had actually obtained it. Heavens, what did that kid do to deserve such a treasure? That's right. Why? He did not deserve to have it. Snatch it. Some people started to move. The Paragon Hall was a very terrifying force. Like the Divine Union, they belonged to the Alliance. However, the Alliance was formed by the cooperation of countless 9 Heaven Supremes. As such, it was extremely powerful. Inside the Paragon Hall, Nether Prime's eyes flashed with a cold light after hearing this. This matter was very important. He had to report it to the Grim Reaper quickly. Nether Prime came to a hellish place. He bowed slightly. Greetings, Grim Reaper. An ancient voice sounded in front of him. What's the matter? Nether Prime told him about the fragments of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation sword. At the same time, a bunch of black eyes appeared in front of him. They looked like balls of hellfire that were jumping. The Grim Reaper said in a deep voice, bring it back. It belongs to us. With the power of the Reincarnation sword, our book of life and death will become even more terrifying. At that time, we will be able to revive the dead and summon all those who have died. You, bring your men and go. Yes. Nether Prime nodded. He went back to prepare. He had a page of the Book of Life and Death. It could be said to be very useful. This time, he joined forces with the Supremes. The 4 Supremes were going together. They were not the only ones. The others were also moving. Some martial monarchs even secretly joined forces and prepared to go together. It could be said that the top forces in the universe were preparing to go to the Heavens Land. The people of the deity realm naturally received the news. They had already sent people to the entrance of the Heavens Land. At this moment, after seeing the figures entering one after another, The news quickly spread to the ancient city. In the city, the Empress, Lord Alcohol, and the others were also surprised after receiving the news. It seems that the number of people is more than we thought. Lin Zhan and the others haven't returned yet. What are they doing? Xia Zhuyo also frowned. Should we attack together? There were two other people. The two of them had returned on the River of Time. They also had the strength of a martial monarch. Let's wait for a while more, Lord Alcohol said. Lin Zhan originally wanted to come back, but he stopped on the way. The reason for that was because a figure had blocked his path. This figure stood there, towering over the crowd. His body was pitch black, and there was an extremely terrifying demonic aura flickering on his body. It's you, Demon Monarch? After Lin Xian saw him, his face changed. The other party actually came to find him. What are you doing here? The Demon Monarch turned around and smiled. Little guy, your cultivation has really improved by leaps and bounds. Are you already a martial monarch now? Also, you actually managed to obtain the fragment of the reincarnation sword. This really surprised me. Are you here to snatch the fragment of the reincarnation sword? He was very vigilant. This person was very strange. He had once cultivated the Demon Monarch's ancient scripture and knew how terrifying the other party was. He said, "Father, be careful." Lin Zhan nodded and walked forward. You really came back to life. What do you think of what I told you before? Are you prepared to join the deity realm? The Demon Monarch said, Forget it. I'm used to being alone. I don't want to join anyone. Then, why are you here this time? Lin Zhan frowned and said, Although I can't join the deity realm, it's not a problem to cooperate occasionally. You want to cooperate? Lin Zhan's eyes lit up. He knew how terrifying this guy in front of him was. This guy was called a demon. He was simply a lunatic, but his strength was ridiculously strong. Chapter 5986. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian was also surprised. From the looks of it, his father and the Demon Emperor knew each other. Moreover, the godly realm had invited the Demon Emperor to join them. However, the Demon Emperor had rejected them. Were they going to cooperate this time? Lin Xian was surprised. However, thinking of the green-robed Great Emperor, perhaps the Demon Emperor had cooperated with the godly realm more than once. However, the Demon Emperor was used to being alone and didn't like to join any faction. It was good to cooperate. Lin Zhan nodded. However, the Demon Emperor said, I'll live a new life. I have to make a request for this cooperation. What request do you have? Tell me. The godly realm had cooperated with MOD before, but that was tens of thousands of years ago. At that time, the other party had a request every time they cooperated. He had heard about this from the Empress. I know that you've conquered some cities in the heavenly land. So, my request is very simple. Give me the qualifications to enter those ancient cities. Lin Zhan didn't refuse. However, he narrowed his eyes and said, Your request is a little too much. After all, you're only going to fight once this time. It's not much. If you know how many people are coming this time, you won't refuse me. Also, I said that this is a new beginning. Who knows, you might need me to take action in the future. I'm just going in to experience the magic and power of the heavenly land. Lin Zhan was deep in thought. After all, this matter was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, at this moment, he received a nomological voice transmission. He took out a scroll with the voices of Lord Alcohol and the others on it. When Lin Zhan heard that there were so many people coming this time, even he was surprised and put away the scroll. Lin Zhan said, Okay, I promise you. Very good. Don't worry, you won't regret it. The Demon Emperor said, Let's set up the plan. Just the two of us will be enough. I think your combat strength should have recovered. It's about time, right? Some of the people who came were supremes, while others were great emperors. However, even great emperors had only cultivated a strand of immortal chi or divine fire, so they weren't afraid. The two of us are enough to sweep everything. Okay. Lin Zhan nodded. He took out another scroll and sent a message to Lord Alcohol and the others. He didn't plan to return to the ancient city. This time, He would directly deal with those people who came. Let's go. Xian still needs you as bait. Lin Xian was surprised. How many people were there? Are the two of you enough? To be honest, he had seen his father's strength and knew how terrifying the demon emperor was. However, he still felt that something was amiss. Lin Zhan said, according to the news that the Empress and the others sent over just now, the Empress and the others sent us a message. Currently, 36 martial monarchs had arrived. What? 36? Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Previously, there were 13 of them. Lin Zhan was able to block the attack by himself. However, he had only killed one great emperor. Now that their numbers had doubled, would the two of them be able to hold them off? Even if he was included, most likely, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Don't worry, little guy. Mod laughed and said, your father's strength is more formidable than you think. My strength is also beyond your imagination. Therefore, 36 of them are still within our ability. Lin Xian was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Right now, he could only defeat one great emperor. But now, his father and the demon emperor could actually defeat so many great emperors. The gap between them was simply too great. The demon emperor said, didn't your father tell you? Your father and I were known as the strongest people below the immortal realm. The strongest people below the immortal realm. Lin Xian was shocked. Was his father really like this? He looked at Lin Zhan. Lin Zhan said, not accurate. To be precise, the demon emperor was known as the strongest person below the immortal realm. As for me, I was known as the person closest to God. Lin Xian was shocked. Although the two had different titles, it undoubtedly showed that these two people were ridiculously powerful below the immortal realm. He should be one of the top great emperors in terms of combat power. After the demon emperor heard this, he also sighed. Then, he sneered and said, kid, don't mind it too much. This is just a title. I'm not the only one who has received this title. However, I didn't manage to take that step. In the end, I still turned into ashes. To Lin Xian's surprise, he could hear a hint of sadness and sorrow in her words. What was that step? The step of becoming an immortal? Even the great emperors felt sorrow? Then how difficult was it to become an immortal? Now that he thought about it, how terrifying was the virtual immortal? And the virtual immortal didn't seem to be the master of the Nirvana realm. How terrifying was the master of the Nirvana realm? Also, was there a god-level figure in the divine realm? If there wasn't, how did he fight against the Nirvana realm back then? Lin Xian had many doubts. Father, please tell me. I have enough strength now. Lin Xian was very curious about these ancient secrets. Let's talk as we walk. They rose into the air and flew into the distance. On the way, Lin Zhan said briefly, there are indeed people in the divine realm who can fight against immortals. They are god-level figures. Back then, there was a great battle. However, these people all disappeared. Some of them went to search for the most mysterious 10th land in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Then, they seemed to have entered the 10th land and never came out again. I wonder how they are now. There were also some who wanted to break through to a higher level, but they hadn't appeared yet. Lin Zhan didn't say anything specific. However, Lin Xian was also shocked after hearing this. It seemed that there were also legendary existences in the divine realm who had surpassed the great emperor level and reached the level of gods. However, due to various reasons, they hadn't appeared yet. However, perhaps with the passage of time, these people would reappear in the mortal world again. After flying for a while, they finally stopped. Lin Xian took a look and was stunned. Why are we back? Isn't this the Reincarnation Mountain, the place where the ancient Six-Path sect is located? They had left from here before. Now, they were back. Lin Zhan said, previously, you triggered a vision of heaven and earth from here. The 6 paths of reincarnation sword has reappeared in the mortal world. Therefore, those who came will first investigate this place. We will use this place as the location to set up our plan. At that time, we will catch all the people who came. Come quickly. I can't wait any longer. I can feel that my demonic blood is boiling. The demon emperor waved his hand and took out the great spear of destruction. He stood in the void, and the demonic aura on his body kept rolling. When he saw the great indestructible spear, Lin Xian also had a strange expression. How terrifying was the demon emperor! Perhaps it wouldn't be long before he could see it with his own eyes. Lin Zhan flipped his hand, and a huge array covered the entire sky. Then, the three of them slowly disappeared. In the sky, the phantom of the 6 paths of reincarnation sword appeared again. It was like the sun in the night sky, shining brightly. Those who came here would definitely see it immediately. Indeed, a few days later, a light flashed across the sky from afar. When they saw the vision of heaven and earth in the sky, they were overjoyed. That was where the reincarnation sword appeared. Go quickly. They sped up and flew forward. Chapter 59-87. What a terrifying aura! It was indeed the power of the reincarnation sword. Some of the great emperors were overjoyed when they arrived. This was the power of the 5 swords of the world. If they could obtain it, their strength would definitely increase greatly. However, at this moment, a cold and eerie voice came from the sky. The reincarnation sword belongs to us, the god of Death Palace. Everyone else, get lost or die. What? The god of Death Palace was the supreme palace? Humph! How dare a mere prime compete with a great emperor? The other great emperors heard this and shouted coldly, "You're the ones who should get lost." Such an angry roar resounded in this world. Obviously, both sides were enraged. They all wanted the power of the reincarnation sword. How dare you look down on us, primes? Do you want to die? The people of the supreme palace roared angrily. Among them, there was a group of people wearing black robes. They were extremely eerie. The leader was the Nether Prime. The Nether Prime roared and unleashed a terrifying aura of death. He charged towards a great emperor. This great emperor was surrounded by a terrifying storm. He roared, "Do you want to die?" He raised his hand and summoned a tornado. This tornado could easily destroy a few worlds. It carried an extremely terrifying immortal wind chi. The two sides engaged in a fierce battle. "I'm here too." In the distance, another great emperor arrived. He slashed down with his saber, shattering the world. Another great emperor arrived. His aura was as deep as the sea. There were more than 30 figures near the reincarnation mountain. Each of them was incomparably powerful. Lin Xian was shocked when he saw this. It was really shocking. One should know that each of these figures was the strongest in their era. They were invincible in the world. These people had traveled through countless years to finally meet in this most dazzling era. They wanted to become gods and immortals. Therefore, in the face of this transcendent power, they naturally would not give up. The battle erupted in an instant. All kinds of divine flames were set off. Supreme weapons danced in the sky and swept across the world. At the same time, the demon emperor saw this scene and sneered, "Humph! It seems like it's our turn. Let's go." With a wave of his hand, a boundless demonic aura surged forward, forming a demonic mountain that stood firmly between the heavens and earth. Originally, due to the battle, the void was already shattered. However, at this moment, a black aura filled the air and shrouded the surroundings. In the next moment, the void cracked open and a black demonic mountain descended from the sky. The people who were fighting all stopped and turned their heads to look. Is someone coming again? Who was it? What a powerful aura. An expert had arrived. They saw a black demonic mountain towering between heaven and earth. There were 3 figures standing on the peak of the Devil Mountain. The Blood Demon Prime spat out a mouthful of blood, his face full of shock, so powerful. The Nether Prime's face was also cold. As expected, it's difficult. However, we won't fight you alone. Let's go together. The people from the Supreme Palace and the Death God Palace walked out and prepared to attack. On the other side, Gale Earth, who was surrounded by storms, also walked out and stared at Lin Xian. He said, "Are you Lin Wudi? I've heard of your name. It's said that you're the 10 Crown King and can defeat the Great Emperor. I don't believe it. I want to fight you alone. Do you dare?" So cunning. The other supremes and great emperors' expressions changed. This Gale Emperor was too cunning. If he fought Lin Wuti alone and won, he could directly snatch the treasures in Lin Wuti's hands. Damn it, why didn't they think of such a move? Immediately, someone said, I also want to fight you alone. After Lin Xian heard this, he sneered disdainfully. One-on-one? Do you think you're worthy? Kid, don't you dare? It seems that your reputation is undeserved. I originally thought that a shocking figure had appeared in this era. Now it seems that you've really disappointed me. The Gale Emperor shook his head. Lin Xian said, If you want to die, I'll do as you wish. He walked out. Let's decide the outcome in 3 moves. If you can make me retreat within 3 moves, I'll admit defeat. Arrogant enough, but you'll lose for sure. The Gale Emperor laughed sinisterly. He had already made up his mind that as long as the other party dared to come out, he would make the other party regret it. With a wave of his sleeve, the storm that filled the sky flew out. He was called the Gale Emperor. Not only did he have the power of wind, but he also had the power of fire. His storm carried a scorching aura. Wind and fire swept through the sky. This was his famous unique skill. Chapter 59-88. It was the ultimate technique of the great emperor. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He activated the Hell Path and summoned the palm in the Sun Valley. With a boom, the palm pierced through heaven and earth, tearing apart the fiery storm in the sky. Emperor Lifeng spat out blood and retreated, his face full of horror. How was this possible? He had actually been defeated by a single move. The others were also surprised. What is that palm? It was too terrifying. It didn't seem like his physique. He summoned the 6 paths of reincarnation. Netherworld Prime's face changed. He had a page of the Book of Life and Death, so he could summon some ancient corpses. Therefore, when he saw this scene, he was greatly shocked. His opponent's Rinnegan seemed to have become even more terrifying. Trash, you are not qualified to obtain the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Xian looked at him and snorted disdainfully. Emperor Lifeng was extremely depressed. He wanted to take this opportunity to suppress his opponent, but he didn't expect to be slapped in the face. Well, the game is over. Now it's time for the life and death battle. MOD also said in a deep voice. As his voice fell, the whole world fell silent. Endless demonic chi soared into the sky and covered the 9 heavens. Everyone's face changed. They took a deep breath, knowing that a great battle was coming. On the other side, Lin Zhan also walked out. His figure was slender, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His figure was incomparably tall and straight. He stood there like a god of war, making everyone's heart beat wildly. Danger. The aura of these 2 people was too dangerous. Let's do it. Don't talk nonsense. The Netherworld Sovereign also let out a furious roar. The others nodded. At this moment, 36 figures moved out together. Boom, boom. Terrifying power as vast as the sea erupted in an instant, setting off a shocking storm in the heavenly land. Outside, the people of the deity ground and the universe were also frightened. They could only feel their souls trembling. They didn't know what death was. Demon Emperor sneered, turned into a phantom, and instantly charged in. In the face of 36 great emperors, he was not afraid at all. He broke through the void and punched out. The demon god fist instantly sent the 2 9 heavens supremes flying. The void was shattered, and a black hole appeared. At this moment, a great emperor made his move. He transformed into a vast ocean and surged towards Lin Zhan with surging power. The other person threw out a top-grade flying dagger. This was a knight's flying dagger, which was enough to threaten a great emperor. It pierced towards Lin Zhan's head. Lin Zhan snorted coldly. He raised his hand and punched. His fist seemed to have turned into the sharpest weapon, knocking the flying daggers away. At the same time, he threw out another punch that pierced through the ocean. The 2 martial monarchs cried out in agony and were sent flying. They spat out blood and were shocked. They had just exchanged blows and were already injured. Lin Zhan was too terrifying. as expected of the Battle Emperor. But so what? That was your identity in your previous life. Now, do you still have the strength you had back then? If not, you can go to hell. The great emperors roared and charged towards Linjan again. On the other side, the Netherworld Sovereign and the others also charged towards the Demon Emperor. He summoned countless skeletons. They covered the sky and covered the earth, sweeping in all directions. The aura of death on these people was extremely terrifying. The demonic aura on the Demon Emperor's body was rolling like clouds. The two collided, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. Are you from the Supreme Palace? Ants like you are still not this Emperor's match. The Demon Emperor stood in the void. There were black flames dancing in his eyes, and his face was filled with arrogance. He held the great spear of destruction in his hand and struck out. Instantly, the millions of skeletons in front of him were torn in half. At the same time, a few people from the Supreme Palace were pierced by the spear. These people were injured and retreated. They quickly took out immortal pills. Were they going to swallow them? Their eyes shone with a cold light. The Netherworld Sovereign said, "Everyone, calm down. Don't panic. This is just a test. They are strong, but there are only two of them. Moreover, they are reincarnated. They are no longer the Battle Emperor and Demon Emperor of the past. We don't have to be afraid of them. We have 36 masters. I don't believe that we can't kill them this time. Moreover, our goal is the reincarnation sword. If there is a chance, we will immediately break out and kill Linwoody. That is the most important thing." The 30 people around nodded. Indeed, they were all great emperors. Some had awakened hundreds of thousands of years ago. Some had awakened tens of thousands of years ago. When all these people were put together, they could become a legend, no matter how strong those two were. So what? They calmed down and regained their confidence. Then, they divided into two teams. They charged towards Linjan and the Demon Emperor. As long as there was a chance, they would cross these two mountains and kill Lin Xian. Their plan was very good, but they underestimated the power of Linjan and the Demon Emperor. The two of them were simply too powerful. They were like 10,000 tall mountains, standing tall and straight. No one could surpass them. The battle was very terrifying. Behind them, Lin Xian also gasped when he saw this scene. That's too powerful. His father, Lin Zhan, and the Demon Emperor seemed to be on a different level from these 36 great emperors. Was the gap between the great emperors so big? If that was the case, no matter how many great emperors there were on the Permitha continent, they shouldn't be a match for it. But why was it that the Permitha continent was still high and mighty, while the deity realm was once destroyed? Was it because there was an immortal on the Permitha continent? Were immortals really so powerful? How terrifying was that place? Lin Xian was very confused. Buzz. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him. The void cracked, and the figure became more and more real. He sneered, "Kid, I finally caught you." A large net covered Lin Xian. That's great. The people fighting in front were happy. It was the shadowless great emperor. He came and went like a shadow. Lin Xian's face darkened. You want to catch me? Get lost. The immortal slaying sword merged with the great dragon sword spirit. With a slash, the net was cut open. The shadow emperor's face changed, and he was sent flying. How could he be so powerful? In the next instant, he let out a miserable shriek. His soul was also being violently battered. Lin Xian roared, and the divine fire on his body was released. The terrifying Nine Suns divine fire shocked the heavens, as if he had turned into the Sun War god. Do you think I'm a pushover? Lin Xian punched in all directions. The Nine Suns divine fist and the 6 paths of reincarnation fist forced the Shadow Emperor to retreat. He was sent flying. Damn it, he's so powerful. Nether Prime and the others were shocked when they saw this scene. It seemed that one great emperor was not enough. At least 3 great emperors were needed to attack together to have a chance. They suppressed the other party in an instant. Do you think you still have a chance? The Demon Emperor snorted. I was just testing you. Now, I'm going to send you to hell. An extremely terrifying demonic chi suddenly erupted from his body, forming a demonic zither in front of him. Demon Overture. A group of demons attacked. He played the zither. Suddenly, An extremely terrifying and peerless divine power erupted. The great emperors and supremes were completely enveloped by the sound. They let out a miserable roar. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.